This is Joe Castello's WFO Radio Ignition, covering everything that has wheels, an engine, and a driver.
The reason I race is to get the chicks. You know what I mean?
NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, sports cars, and NHRA drag racing.
Hey, guys, just want to let you know, WFO rocks.
WFO Radio is total motorsports.
It's just so cool.
Fasten your seatbelts, fire up the ignition, and drop the hammer.
Yeah, let's do it.
Now, here's your host, Joe Castello.
WFO. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to WFO Radio Ignition. I'm Joe Castello. I am your host. And if you are new to the show, if you are a first-time podcast listener, if you're just kind of bouncing around Apple Podcasts or Stitcher, and you happened upon this one, well, thank you very much for selecting it and trying it out and giving us a test drive. And I think if you stick around for a month or so, you will really learn to love it. It's not about instant gratification with us. It's about long, hard-earned loyalty is what it is. We've got two people here in the studio. Giovanni in Miami as well. Giovanni, welcome back. How are you?
All is well. All is well.
All is well. That's good to hear because it's not always all is well with you. And so this is good. This is good. This is improvement from the normal status. Now, we did not have either show last week. Last week was perhaps the first time ever that we did not have either show. Now, I don't have that stat, but I'm just saying it's probably true. And I was on there today talking to the Patreons. I went onto the Patreon crew, and I felt a little guilty, like we hadn't done entertainment. I felt a little weird. In fact, I was having a conversation with Poker Action Line, Big Dave Lemon, about when you build a relationship with the audience and then you can't do a show. In my case, I went from NHRA in Houston straight to Johnson City, Tennessee for Performance TV on Motor Trend Network. Just name dropping a couple of the cool gigs I got. But there was no time. But normally Giovanni and I would have gotten on the phone. We would have done something. He would have been here in the mothership, and we would have talked motorsports. We would have talked about whatever was going on. We would have got into it. There was a lot going on last week. Tiger Woods winning the Masters.
That's right.
Great stuff to talk about.
It was exciting.
Robert Hight, Brittany Force doubling up down in Houston. Martin Truex Jr. winning. There was a lot of exciting stuff to discuss. And none of it got discussed because somewhere out in Houston, somebody gave me the crud, man. I got ill. I fell ill. And I had like the kind of like a bug that was like talking like this the whole time, which was horrible. And I felt it coming on too. Like, what's that? What is that feeling that I'm feeling? I don't know that this is normal. I felt infected by some sort of a bug that I got from somebody. But now I am better. And I just want to thank the audience for understanding that every once in a while I may miss something, but I'm so much better because of it. I always say it's better to provide something rather than nothing, which is why we recorded that 3-minute message for NHRA Nitro. Hey, y'all, we still exist, but we had a bit of an issue. Now, on this week's show, we're going to get into a whole bunch of different stuff. We're going to make up for lost time, of course, but NASCAR Talladega, baby, FFRR. And according to my unscientific calculations, this is the first race in 30 years without a restrictor plate. So FFRR, fans for restrictor plate racing, is now defunct, moot, null and void. It's kind of interesting because I go to Giovanni, I go, hey, isn't there something to let you behind the scenes a little bit, to see how the sausage is made a little bit? And before I get into the sausage making, I do want to promote, we do have a great guest on this week's show. Yes, his name is David, and he is the inventor of a new card game that is on Kickstarter. Now, why on earth would I be promoting a Kickstarter project on WFO to the WFO universe, right? That's the answer. Well, the answer is David is a great longtime friend of mine dating back to high school era. He is my second ever on-air co-host. In fact, we did college radio together. We did the J.D. Rap Show with the Pirates of Soul. We did, Mickey the Gun and Jay Slat. Whatever. The point is, he and another high school friend of mine, they invented a card game, and they've got it on Kickstarter. And, of course, I called to grill them about, like, what is this and what's the story and is it legit and is it fun and is it interesting? And all of those things turn out to be true. And so now I want to help. I want to help my friends who are on this entrepreneurial journey. They've invented something. It's fun, exciting, interesting, and they're trying to make this concept an actual reality. So here's what happened. Quick back and forth. This is what we're doing. Really, that's interesting. How's it go? Finally had a phone call. In the meantime of that little interaction spread out over 15 days or so, their Kickstarter was going pretty good. Well, we're going to put it over the top. That's what WFO is all about. Now, why do you need to do this? I'll tell you about it later. You're going to hear from David. He'll be on the show. And you'll also get a little bit of a window into my early broadcast career. I know people like that kind of stuff, right? Like, what was it like back in the day? What was the first things that we said that we did? You get a little window into the very early Joe broadcast days, which to believe I'm still doing this is just pure insanity. But most importantly...
Young Joe?
Yes.
Young Joe?
Young
what
Joe.
was Young Joe like?
Hey guys, WFO, we're here. Exactly like that.
With 001 Red.
Right.
What do you have to say for yourself today?
Exactly.
Great race, huh?
Hey, we're here with the good Giovanni in New York. Hi, Giovanni.
Hey there, Joe. How's it going?
Some may say I still sound like that, and I would not argue. It is also true. But the best part about it is that it is a real card game. It's not like poker where you're playing with a deck of cards. No, it's like one of these where you read the card and you're playing across. It's genuine, direct, human interaction that is fun. So it's like a party thing where you have a couple of friends, and that's the downside. If you don't have friends, this might not be for you. But I want all of my people to be the first to have this deal. And so you're going to hear from David. He's going to come on the show in the second segment. Then, of course, we will come back and we will talk. There's no fantasy league, is there? No, it's Easter weekend. There
was no racing.
But you want me to go back and do the one from the previous. That only makes sense.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Martin Truex Jr. won. We got to talk about who won that deal. That makes sense. We'll get into all of that. But we're going to kind of take a left-hand turn at the second segment. And I want you guys to listen to the show. The name of the game, you're probably wondering, Florida Man. Florida Man.
Interesting.
The card game. Exactly. It's very interesting. They've done a great job. Their time living in Florida was part of the initial concept, the genesis, if you will. But really, and I don't want to steal any of the thunder, I just want to give everybody like a little taste. Florida Man headlines. You know that they're out there. It's always about some crazy guy in Florida doing something, right? Florida Man in Miami eats the face off somebody. That one happened. Florida Man swallowed by a sinkhole while sleeping in his bed. That one happened. These are just off the top of my head. I'm just going totally off the top of my head right now with Florida Man headlines. Where do they come from? What's the point of them? And how do they fit into this card game? And how do you get it? You're going to learn all of that stuff. And I'm going all in on this because it's my bro. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Florida Man card game. That's coming up. Now, what were we talking about before that? Yes, the very important aspect of this weekend's Talladega race. No restrictor plates. So I say to Giovanni in Miami, I say, hey, isn't there something about this race like Daytona was the final race with the restrictor plates? And this, thus, will be the first race without restrictor plates since, what, 1987, Bobby Allison. Is that true? And so we immediately go into research mode. And we don't find a lot about it. But I did find some stories from the Daytona 500 that says, like here, for instance, Yahoo, February 15th, 2019, the end of an era. Sunday's Daytona 500 is the last restrictor plate race. And since this is the next super speedway race. Since then, that means this is the first race with the tapered spacer. So why am I telling you this? It's going to be interesting to see how it's different. That's all. That's all. What are we going to see? We don't know. And doesn't that just make it so interesting? What are we going to see? We just don't know on the super speedways. And so I think that's worth noting here at the start of the show. We're also going to talk Formula One, Azerbaijan, the Baku circuit. But we really didn't get to cover the 1,000th Formula One Grand Prix, won by Lewis Hamilton. And now Giovanni in Miami will give us a 15-second race recap of the 1,000th Formula One Grand Prix. Go.
Lewis Hamilton took off from second, dominated the race, and never looked back. Valtteri Bottas came in second. Ferrari kind of limped home third and fifth. That's all you really need to know.
And there's your race recap. What was with the big, giant piece of dead air right at the beginning? You just were gobbling up. There was not enough.
I needed to kill 15 seconds, so I figured I'd leave a few seconds of dead air to get to the 15-second
You could
recap.
pause in the middle and just kind of like space it out a little bit better, but okay.
I don't have that pause.
You got to space it out. What about the Haas F1 report, man?
You said that we were just going to talk about the 1,000th race and what happened.
Were they in the 1,000th race?
They were in the race. They did not run very well. Haas is, did not have a good – struggled is a good way of putting it. Absolutely.
No, listen, Gunther Steiner is saying flat out that they have got some problems. Like, here's a story from motorsport.com by Jonathan Noble. I'll just tell you the headline. That's all you need to know. Steiner braced for further Haas disappointment in Baku. So we should all be braced
for
further
terrible.
disappointment, guys. The Haas F1 report brought to you by Haas F1. Very disappointing. They have trouble getting heat in the tires, but that is a different subject for a different day. Jimmy Johnson wins the Boston Marathon.
He did not win the Boston Marathon.
He didn't win it? I thought he won it.
Nope.
He got a lot of headlines. I think it was
he
because
deserved
he won
the headlines because he went.
Well, what did he do?
He ran and finished the marathon.
Podium.
He finished. He was able to
wait
successfully complete the
You're telling me
26.2 miles or whatever it is.
You really don't know how long a marathon is. It's the distance between Athens and Sparta, okay? It's 38.5 miles.
Okay, that's definitely wrong.
I just made all of that up.
Okay.
What is it? It's 26 miles.
It's 26.2 miles, if I'm not mistaken. That's to be precise. But that's a different story.
All joking aside, I saw he had said that it was the most challenging thing he had done in his life. 26.22 miles, to be exact.
Okay.
The idea, listen, the idea of running a marathon, of all the things that I can dream of, is the one I am least likely and able to do.
I have no desire to attempt to even run 26 miles. How about that?
What about if I said 2 miles?
Oh, I could run 2 miles.
I am willing to bet you could not run 2 miles.
Oh, well, what do you want? What you got?
I am...
And when are we going to do this proposition?
Okay.
Like, obviously not right now at the very moment.
You got to train? Not at the moment. No, we're on to something. We've just stumbled upon something. This is hysterical.
But this is it. Yeah, I can see this. This is already like a weekend thing to do.
Okay, I want to make this worth your while. This is a show thing. This is like big right now. This just happened by total accident.
Of course.
You're really thinking you can run 2 miles? Like you don't want to back out? Because I'm willing to put up some cold, hard cash.
Absolutely. I can run 2 miles, yes.
Okay, let's discuss. What do you mean run?
Parameters.
Like you're not allowed to walk.
But I'm not to go.
And then, no, you're not sprinting. You're like, you know what we're talking about,
Yeah,
like a marathon guy, like a jog, like a left, running.
What is the time limit here?
No time limit, but you can't stop. You can't stop. You can't start walking. You have to run it. You have to run. You have to go. You have to do continuous running of 2 miles. Does that sound fair? I'm trying to be fair.
I think so.
I don't think so at all. I think there's zero chance of this happening. None. I don't think, we're going to keep it at 2 miles. But I am very curious as to see where you will collapse. And I think that is what the real game is
So
going to be.
okay. So you think 2 miles is way too much? So let's go 1 mile.
No, we're saying
one
at 2
is not
miles.
enough.
2 miles, you have to complete the 2 miles. I can hear the doubt already creeping in.
No, it's just that now you're making it like not even possible.
2 miles.
All right.
What do you think about $100? I was going to say 50.
No, I'm not doing it for 50.
Well, I knew that was a little bit of a low ball, and I am confident. I am confident you are not running 2 miles. It is not happening. It is definitely not happening. No freaking way.
All right.
Yeah. So, do you accept the challenge for $100?
I'll take your $100.
You'll take the challenge.
Yes.
2 miles.
2 miles.
It's on.
Now, this is to be determined because I know that you're leaving. It's not going to happen like now when we get off the air.
You could do some rudimentary training if you'd like.
Well, all right. Like, that's not going to happen.
I know it.
All right.
I know
I'm more than likely to take some rudimentary drinking for this training, but.
What happens? Okay, like it's not. I don't get anything if you don't make it. Do you understand? Like you don't have to pay me anything.
Right.
Home run Yankees.
Voit.
It's been great.
Well, we need him to snap out of the little bit of the hitting slump. Yeah. But oh God, we're playing Matt Harvey.
Save it for SportsCollision.
I didn't realize this was going on. We could have thrown some money on here and picked up a couple extra $100 for this race.
Little Yankees crying towel.
Well, I mean, they're playing Matt Harvey. This guy doesn't belong in the big leagues.
Yeah. Well, whatever, man. We need wins. We've got a team.
No, we don't.
It's like Game of Thrones, the Army of the Dead. We've got the team of the dead. Everybody is injured. We got an all-star team out there on the IL. Okay, so here it is, the parameters of the bit, and then we're going to move back on to the rest of the stuff.
2 miles.
As soon as possible.
Time limit.
Based on our schedule.
I just cannot walk.
No, you can't, start walking. Because I could walk 2 miles, and I know you can walk 2 miles, and anybody can walk 2 miles. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about running 2 miles. Running. Okay? And I'll video you if you start to walk, and I'll post it, and everyone will be like, this guy's walking. So you can't walk. And there will be a $100 bill waiting for you at the end. And if you pull it off, I will shake your hand, and I'll look you in the eye.
I don't need
say,
any of that. Just give me my $100.
Giovanni, you have impressed me with your athleticism.
I don't need none of your nonsense. Just whip out a Franklin for me.
You'll get it. I will have it on a clothespin.
That's what we need. There we go.
That
might be a way to just keep it on like
stick
the
right off your back.
The hundo on the string and just keep pulling it.
Carrot and the whip, man. This will be the carrot. It'll be a $100 bill. There'll be no whip. It'll just be it. All right. Let it be said. Let it be written. The Giovanni 2 Mile Challenge will happen as soon as is possible based on our mutual schedules.
Yeah.
The prize for running nonstop for 2 miles is $100. The penalty for failing is nothing.
It's embarrassment.
Humiliation
in front of a nation of a universe.
A nation of millions.
A universal audience that we have here at WFO.
I think this is great. And
shame when I go back to the track.
Shame. Ding. Okay. Does it matter where we do it? Do we have to do it at a track? I got a track. We could go right to a track. I know right where it is, and you just do laps? Or do you want to go through the neighborhood like Rocky? Except you never make it to the stairs because you can't run that far. It'd be like if Rocky stopped 10 miles down the road.
In theory, the park behind my house, one time around is half a mile. So I would have to go around 4 times.
No chance. I will scout the distance. We'll go around the park, by your house.
Or worst case scenario, you could put that thing on your GPS around your wrist on me and measure the 2 miles that way.
Absolutely.
Or something
I'll
around
take the
that.
car around the block.
There you go.
And there it is.
I mean, I've taken the car around the block. That's why I know that distance.
Let it be said, let it be written. The Giovanni 2 Mile Challenge will happen, and it will happen relatively soon. Is this the kind of thing that could happen after work? When would you want to do it? On a Saturday? On a Saturday morning?
Yeah, I guess preferably on a Saturday is probably
the only problem is
I'll just make sure
I'm not going to be around on too many Saturdays. I will pick the date, and we will appropriately hype this.
Yeah, you figure out the date that you're going to be around.
Got it.
Because otherwise, it's very difficult during the week. We'd have to set up a day that I'm available, or
it would have to be like a Thursday or a
something.
Friday.
Right. I'd have to take off time from work, and then the
No.
$100 is not worth it.
No, I don't want you to do that. This is as soon as is possible based on the convenience. And all you WFO Universe folks out there, Joe at WFOradio.com or Twitter, Giovanni in Miami, WFO Joe,
Feel
Facebook.
free to sweeten the pot.
Right.
No pun intended.
Little side action. You know, maybe somebody wants to bet me $100 that Gio won't make it, and then I'll take the action and thus cover my bet.
Isn't that?
I'll bet on Gio the $100, and that way I'm.
You can't lose.
I
You're like
can't
a tout.
lose.
You give half the people Team A and the other half Team B. Somebody's always happy coming back for more.
That's exactly right. That
Oh,
is
boy.
exactly right. So Jimmy Johnson went 26.22 miles, which is very impressive. Congratulations to Double J. Grand Prix of Long Beach. Another one that didn't get to talk a little bit about it. That is just a historic, epic event for IndyCar. I am feeling like, and maybe it was me being involved in my own stuff, though, but for the past couple of years, it just sneaks up on me. Grand Prix of Long Beach. Now, I know it is about to be the month of May, and so we've got the Indy 500. We've got a couple of races at Indy. The Indy 500 is coming. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be exciting. It is the Indy 500. Alexander Rossi picking up the win at the Grand Prix of Long Beach. I saw Courtney Force was out there. Going to be interesting. But the month of May is practically upon us.
Yeah, just about. I mean,
Practically.
next week when we meet, it'll still be the end of April.
Yes. And
But,
then-
yeah, IndyCar, I think it's great that the whole thing that they do. I just feel like it's a little bit too much time between races from Long Beach last weekend, mid-April, no race now till May 11th, the Grand Prix. And then they'll have 2 weeks off to, I guess they historically didn't have anything for those 3 weeks leading up to the Indy 500 anyway, so.
So I bring up the marathon distance, and so Google serves me up some stories that I may want to know. Mom and 8-month-old daughter shatter stroller half marathon record. That's Runner's World. So did you know that was a thing?
A half marathon? I have heard of a half marathon.
No, the stroller half marathon.
Never heard of it, nope.
That's a thing.
Nope. No, I know down here they had some sort of 5K or something like that.
5K is something that we could probably train to do.
Well, isn't
not
that
ready to
roughly
do
2
it.
miles?
It's
Two
a
and a
little
half
more
miles?
than that. It's a little more
Really?
than that. Yeah, look it up. 5K. But this is the
Oh,
story.
wait a minute. So maybe I've overexerted myself.
No, I know, man. You got no chance of doing this. Like it's no chance. There's no chance of you going 2 miles.
No, 5K is 3.1 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So that is a bit extreme. I don't think I'm going to make it that far.
You're not gonna make it at all. There's no hope for you.
How can I not make it for 2 miles, dude?
There's no hope.
All right, if you say so.
I'm telling you. And I have my own experience with this, but I don't want to put anything in your head. I'm not going to taunt you. I'm not going to try to break you down until the day of the thing. And if it looks like you're going to make it, then I might go psychological on you. The last mile.
Well, I mean, wait a minute. It's not the last mile is half the distance here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that seems like you're going to be taunting me half of the distance. I mean, you might as well just pull a...
You're gonna monkey, man. You're gonna monkey. There's no chance. Let's just forget it. Anyway, 3 Chinese runners accused of cheating in Boston Marathon. Even in the marathon, 3 Chinese runners accused of cheating in the 2019 Boston Marathon have been banned from running in any road races in China, according to China's new news agency. The Xinhua news agency reported that one of the runners allegedly gave his bib number to other people, and 2 allegedly cheated their way in the marathon by forging their personal best result certificates to meet the Boston Marathon qualification standard. Cheaters. They have subsequently been banned for life from competing in China by the Chinese Athletic Association. It serves as the governing body for the sport. So even that, man, you go to Boston to compete in a marathon and cheat. What is the benefit of that? I have no idea.
Yeah, it just seems ridiculous.
What's the point? Exactly. We finished the marathon, except we really didn't. For no prize. The guy who wins it gets a prize, but I don't know what it is. Just want to say what's up to our big sponsors like CatSpotLitter.com, MagicDryUS.com, RoadAxeCoffeeandGrills.com. Marvin Rodak. Didn't get to tell you about Rodax and how great it was last week. I enjoyed some Rodax today. Folks, listen, if you listen to this show, you got to get in on the Rodax Habanero Endorphin Booster Hot Sauce. Period. End of story.
That is the best.
To me, it is, of everything that Marvin does, the coffee, he doesn't grow the coffee, all right? That's not, he gets coffee from places that grow coffee. So I don't give him...
Marvin Juan Valdez Rodak?
Correct. He doesn't grow the coffee. So I don't give him all this credit for growing the coffee and it being great. He puts it together and roasts it and ships it out, and that's fine. But I love it. But when it comes to the single greatest standout availability at RoadXCoffeeandGrills.com, it is the Habanero Endorphin Booster Hot Sauce. And it should be in every single WFO radio listener house. It is that great. If, of course, you like hot sauces. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, The Dragster Adventure, FrankHawley.com, Drive a Dragster, 130 miles an hour, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, an experience like you've never had in your life. They're going all over the country. They're coming to you. Auto Club Raceway, they're coming to you. Frank Hawley, Motorsportsguys.com, Terry McMillan's Mail Order Business. If you need Amalie Motor Oil, filters, can and air filters, they are waiting for you at Motorsportsguys.com. You know what you cannot get is the Habanero Endorphin Booster Hot Sauce. That is not available at motorsportsguys.com because they sell parts and pieces. But the next oil change with Amalie, you need to get it right there. Hangstifer's Metalworking Lubricants. Congratulations to Matt Sackman, now a licensed top fuel racer. And Hangstifer's, their aim is to make you more efficient in your metalworking shop. Check them out, hangstfirst.com. Audible.com/WFO Nitro. Start your 30-day free trial. That is audible.com. And samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed with samtech.edu. And a new Samtech Factory Stock podcast will drop this week with guests Aaron Stanfield and Carl Tasca, plus Brian Massengill and some folks from Fiat Chrysler Automobiles talking about the Drag Pack program, all happening this week. You should be subscribed to the Factory Stock Podcast. Okay, we're going to dive right in with David Ritchie from Florida Man, the Card Game, who also happens to be a longtime great friend, practically family, been very helpful to me over, not really. It's been a wonderful... I overstated it. No, I'm kidding, David, if you're out there listening. But you're going to want to listen to this, and you're going to want to get in on this. I think that this is interesting, and I would love for the WFO universe to help these guys out because they're good guys. They created something. They innovated something, and I love the idea of making it a reality, of it becoming a real thing that we all have. All right, let's bring them on. Joining us now, a lifelong friend, maybe not my whole life, but certainly from high school. All you WFOers out there, you may have heard me mention some previous projects like the RIP VIP app, which I haven't updated, but it was a great thing. And the next, from the people who brought you that, the newest, latest, greatest. Joining me now, my great friend, David Ritchie. David, welcome to WFO Radio. How are you?
I'm great, Joe. How are you?
Great, great. Now, well, I want to give you the big build-up, and then we can just to kind of digress into our normal conversation. Okay. But I want the audience to understand that this is a very non-racing related thing. Has nothing to do with auto racing, but it does have to do with me and a good friend of mine who is venturing out into like Kickstarter, and you've created a game and all of these things, and I want to be supportive, and this is how I do it. This is all I have in my life. Is my ability to trouble the WFO audience with projects and things. So tell me about the Florida Man card game.
This is a card game that we created to celebrate all of the fantastic things that happen in Florida that have the rest of the country and the world shaking their heads.
So you're mocking Florida. Right from the start, you're mocking Florida a little bit.
I'm not. We're celebrating Florida and all of its oddities and characters who, make Florida so great.
I love that answer. That is a very politically correct and not inflammatory answer. But the fact of the matter is we know that a lot of weird stuff goes down in Florida. I live in Florida. You lived in Florida. And
that's true.
It's a known thing around the country, around the world, that Florida's got weird stuff going on. Billy Corbin says it's a sunny place for shady people. We know that, but there's a lot of weird stories that come out. So what do you mean a card game? Like we sit around a coffee table and we're playing this at parties? It's fun? What's up?
Yes, you're playing this at parties. You basically, what we have for the headline card is an actual Florida Man headline. And we remove a couple of the key words, and we then take all of those key words to then reinterpret that headline. So everyone's trying to outdo the real Florida Man headline.
So you take the real headline, Florida Man marries alligator wearing a tutu. That's like a real headline that we might see on any given day coming out of Florida. And so you would remove a couple of words, and the fun of it is making up other words.
Well, the fun of it is using parts of those other headlines to then create your own headline. Yes, so the idea is that you're trying to outdo the actual headline.
Which is challenging, but possible.
Well, it is possible. What makes this game fun is once you've kind of played your cards and you've come up with your wacky headlines, you then reveal the actual headline, and that's where you realize whether or not you were able to do it. And in most cases, the Florida headline is still a head scratcher and totally insane.
Well, that is so typical of Florida. Now, this is what I love about it, okay? Well, first of all, the fact that you guys, David and David, two great friends for a long time, back to high school, and prior with the other David, who is not on the call, everybody. Right. There are two Davids involved. But number one, that this is like a real community thing, like real people getting together to be face-to-face, to have some old-timey fun with real cards that they hold in their hands as opposed to like digital face-down device fun, where we're texting back and forth. I love that number one about it.
Yes, this is something that we get together over the holidays and end up having drinks and playing cards. It's just kind of part of our deal. We're not the only ones. There's plenty of card games out there. But, we thought if we can kind of combine some of these crazy headlines that we spend our days, looking at here and there, that maybe kind of add this reality to it and see if we can't make it even a little crazier. Now, Florida headlines are perfect for that.
Florida Man, absolutely. And the name comes from the headlines that all start out with Florida Man, ... some craziness that, of course, you can all imagine, and that's the fun of the game. Now, this is up on Kickstarter, and I'm going to share the link on the WFO radio page and my personal page, of course, imploring everybody to get in on it because it is a cool thing. But they get something, right? Like by pledging, I've never done a Kickstarter. I've never done a Kickstarter, I got to admit. I've never done it because I've never been friends with anyone that is doing it until now. So what happens? Like, I can tell you that you had a pledged goal. You're going to do something with that goal. You got to make the game, right? Like, this thing is still concept. You got to make it a reality. And then what happens for the people who back it?
So what happens is with a Kickstarter or a crowdfunding source like this is that you are trying to gather as much publicity for your project and some funds to make the project a reality. In our case, we put together a full game. All the headlines are there. All the action cards are there. And now we just need to go to print, and that's where the Kickstarter comes in. So if you pledge, you can pledge for the full game. You can pledge for a game with an expansion pack, which is extra cards, extra headlines that you only get when you pledge for that bigger tier. Or we have a larger tier where you get the game and a bunch of crazy beach stuff that we decided to make up, like a beach towel, Florida Man, a koozie and flying disc and that sort of stuff. And all of these funds go to creating the game, having it printed, having it manufactured. And once we fund, We go to press with this, and then in a month or so, we send the games out to everyone who made a pledge.
See, that's great. That is great. And I have made a pledge, and you have a goal. You're close to the goal. You're right on top of the goal. But I think you go beyond the goal, right? Like, that's the whole thing. It's not just about just reaching a goal. You're trying to fund this project as much as possible, and everybody that supports, and I'm talking about my listeners, they will be a part of the Florida Man card game experience.
You'd be the first to have it. And, Joe, I think you've actually put us over the goal. I think we've met our goal with your support and pledge this morning.
By design. See,
you've been waiting in the wings, I saw.
Right? See, that is a perfect example of the kind of person that I am, David, is that everybody needs to know weeks ago, this has been simmering for a little while, and I wanted to have him on, but we had a great conversation last week about it. And now I fully understand. And so today, as I was about to have you on the show, I look at the thing and you were like, $140 away. Boom, right where I strike and put you right over the top.
Yes. And all the streamers, the champagne, the balloons, all that stuff, all it just dropped from the ceilings as soon as we saw your pledge come through. So thank you.
Thank goodness. I was wondering about that. Like, I was wondering there should be some sort of pomp and circumstance that happens when I click this button and submit my pledge on Kickstarter, and to know that it actually happened makes me feel good. So here's some examples. Florida Man uses wanted poster as Facebook profile picture. Like, that really happened.
Yes, and that's a great one. That's actually a pretty recent one. I like that one quite a bit. I have one here too. This is let's see. I've got Florida Man bites off neighbor's ear because he wouldn't give him a cigarette.
That's horrible.
Common stuff that happens every day. Sure.
Normal. Yeah, out there. I just want to let everybody know, most of this stuff, North Florida, not South Florida. Northern Florida, Central Florida, very big.
Sure.
North Florida. What else? Give me another one.
Florida Man attempts to leave store with chainsaw stuffed down his pants.
Well, that's not going to work. And if it does, it's dangerous.
Well, yes. I mean, you're really risking it to get that chainsaw. And
even
the way this card would play, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it's not going to be running or anything, but those chains are still pretty sharp.
They're pretty sharp. You're just going to you're going to look like you have maybe a wooden leg or something when you walk out of the store. But that's, that's possible.
Yeah, you might pull it off. Just like the, stealing the basketball and pretending you're a pregnant lady. That happens from time to time.
Yeah.
So how would that card play? Explain play.
So this game would read as your headline card that is a community card. Everyone uses this as their card to play against. So Florida Man attempts to leave store with blank, stuffed blank. So we've removed chainsaw and down his pants. So an example of a couple cards you would play, your action cards could be Florida Man attempts to leave store with frozen pizza, stuffed with grandpa's ashes, for instance. And frozen pizza and grandpa's ashes are coming from other Florida Man headlines.
Wow. Okay. So it sounds like a riot, but you have to have friends. I would imagine could be a downturn for some people out there. You got to have like a little group of people. How many people play? Like minimum, maximum?
I would say minimum 4, maximum, just as many cards as we have. So you can, 20 people.
Wow.
It could be a pile of people. Sure.
That's awesome. See, that's a great thing. It's a fun game, fun at parties. Everybody check out the Kickstarter. It's going to be on WFOradio.com. And you've given me like a special, link so that we can track the WFO universe and whether or not they support my initiatives.
Yes, we can see that as those pledges come in, and we'll take note.
That's great.
Of Joe's people.
Thank you. Now, what has been surprising to me is, I'm doing this podcast for many years. We try to generate publicity, right? Whatever it is. Right? You have gotten a ton, and we fail. You have gotten a ton of publicity in Florida media, like whether it be Miami, CBS Miami. You got on CBS Miami with this Florida Man card game.
Yeah, we are on a couple of the Tampa stations, and they've done reports in Orlando as well. And I think it's just because not everyone in Florida, but most people in Florida, or at least the news outlets, understand that Florida Man is a thing and potentially super funny material. So once I think the word spread that this game was created and that we were two guys that lived in Florida at one time, I think they kind of jumped on the chance to spread the word and do a little reporting on it. It's been fun.
I noticed you didn't call yourself Floridians.
Well, you know what? We refer to the players of the game as Floridians.
Oh, there you go. Well, first of all, other David is a Floridian, as far as I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he's born and raised. Well, he wasn't born in Florida, but lived the majority of his life there.
That's it.
Yes,
it
until
counts.
moving out of state.
So we got some other goals. I would encourage everybody to get on Kickstarter so you can get the game, right? Like you support, but you get the game. You get the first game. That is cool. You're part of something. But also, you've got some social media goals as well. You're on Instagram. You're on what's going on with the Instagram? Is it just Instagram, or are you in other places? But I see you've got a goal set for 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. What am I looking at? What is that about?
Those extra goals are just for fun to see if we can to get some followers on all of our social platforms. So we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and the handle is Florida Man Card Game for all of them. And just to help spread the word and get people involved and see what we're up to as we kind of roll out imagery for the game and some of the stuff that we're putting together for the pledges.
Excellent. Well, I think it is great. Hopefully the WFO universe finds this entertaining and fun and want to get involved. And if they don't, it's not my fault. What can I do? But the bottom line is I have already put you over the top, baby. And so it's not about you guys anymore. This thing is going to launch. We're going to light the candle.
Oh, yes.
No matter what. It's whether or not people want to be the first to have the game. I kind of like that position because we're not asking anybody really for anything anymore. This thing is happening no matter what. It's whether or not you want to get in on Florida Man, the card game, right at the beginning, ground floor.
Ground floor, it's not going to be in shops or available online or anything like that until we put this thing in production, receive it, and make sure that all of our pledges have the copies in their hands. Then after that, you'll be able to pick it up. But having it first and ahead of the curve is kind of what the goal is now for everyone that's jumping on board the Kickstarter.
Totally agree. Now, my personal goal is to see this thing for sale in the rest stops at the Florida Turnpike, which is just me. I think it's the perfect place for this kind of stuff. Turnpike.
I like that in the airport, too, and the airport.
Absolutely. You're going on a trip. You're going on a trip to Florida from Florida. You're playing the Florida Man, the card game, on your way there, on your way home, now with a new understanding of the craziness that is Florida. Now, a couple more questions before we let you go, David. Okay, number one.
Sure.
Florida is not a horrible place. Florida is a wonderful place. We uncovered in our conversation the other day, there's actually a reason that I don't think everybody understands why these Florida Man headlines get out there. It's not that the craziest people in the world are all in Florida, which many of them are, but it's actually because of a Florida law that demands, transparency in our system. This actually comes from a good thing. Tell us about that.
Well, there's a sunshine law that was created to make the local governments more transparent. And in recent years, I think it's 1995, they started to apply that to basically everything involving local governments, including police activity or arrest records. And that's where Florida Man comes from, are all these infractions and arrests that are more unusual than others. And a few people start talking about it. And these headlines kind of make their way out to the general public. But after a few years of that, I think people started to snoop around or look for these things on a more active basis because they realized there was just tons of treasure there for them as they revealed more and more of these crazy arrests and characters that are just, there in Florida and kind of making their way through their daily lives.
So it is
all
not,
these things happen in other states, but we see them because of this law in Florida.
So we are not crazier than everyone else. We are just more transparent about how crazy we are than anyone else.
I don't know if that's completely true. I think there's other factors that come into play, like the heat, humidity, alligators, panthers, things like that. But in general, yes, it's because we're just allowed to see that these arrests are happening and what the crimes are and who's doing them. What's happening? Yeah.
Right. Well, I think it is great. Once again, Florida Man, the card game. Check it out on Insta. Go to our WFO Radio Facebook page. It'll be on my personal page. We'll put it out there in several different areas. Kickstarter.com. But we have a special link, everybody. So make sure you hit our link. And, it's happening now, so I don't even have to wish you good luck with it. Now I can just say, where's my game, man? How long is this going to take?
Yeah, you could start. Yeah. How long will it take?
Yeah, man. It's been 5 minutes now. Where's the game? What's up?
Well, we are funding until May 17th. So after that, it's about a month and a half, 2 months for everything to be printed, packaged up, and then shipped out. So there is a little bit of a lag time, but that's what it takes to kind of get the game going. We need to wait for that funding to come in and then have it go to press. The game itself and how it plays and all the cards are all created. It's ready to go. We just need to continue the Kickstarter until that ends on the 17th, and we're good to go from there.
Well, I love it. Well, I'm in. I'm getting a copy. I'm going to be playing Florida Man, the card game, at my parties. It's going to be great. Hopefully everybody else out there will as well support you. Most importantly, I'm into the entrepreneurial spirit of it, right? You invented a game. My friends invented a game that people are going to be playing. I want to support. That's great. So I wish you the best of luck.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
We appreciate it.
Next subject. JD Rap Show with the Pirates of Soul. People need to realize that David here technically is my first or second on-air broadcast, on-air co-host. That is a fact. We did college radio in South Florida together many, many years ago at the very beginning. And now you've gone on to great success. What do you remember of that era?
I think I remember most of all that we were creating our own press credentials. That
there you go.
Were completely fabricated, right?
Circumventing the system.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. And we would use those to get backstage at shows or get free records or interviews with some of our favorites. And yeah, I think that's probably the biggest takeaway from all this.
Okay, well, it was good. I would loved if you had said something about the art form that is on-air broadcast radio, but instead you go with the which is part of it.
You have to prep me for that stuff. I don't know.
It's part of it.
You know what? Joe really, that's where he honed his craft. He worked on his radio persona, his voice, and cut down on spitting into the microphone, that kind of stuff. He worked it all out before.
All right, I'm going to bring you back to a thing now. The audience loves. The audience loves. Listen, every radio host has got their own trajectory and things that happen. So I'm going to bring you back to a couple of things, and you can tell a great story or not. I'm sure the audience will love it. Okay, no, listen. The time we went, I think totally unsolicited, and knocked on the door at Luke Records in Miami, Florida, at the time that Two Live Crew was, just about at their peak. What do you remember of that?
That's funny that's the one you chose. I think I remember them. I remember going there, and yes, I don't know that we had any real business being there, but I think we decided we're going to just
get free stuff.
Yeah, we're just going to go for it. Let's get free records. Let's see.
Let's go right into Luke Records in Miami, and in kind of a tough part of Miami. Two teenage kids go busting in there with a rap like, hey, give us some free stuff.
Give us some free stuff. I don't believe Luke was there, but a bunch of employees were there. I want to say their manager was there, who's the guy who'd appeared in a couple of videos. And I think we just kind of gave them some spiel that we had a college radio station, which was true. But it wasn't really racking up numbers or anything or listeners, but we were there and just kind of presented them with the idea that, or the opportunity to have their music showcased by us two goofballs.
Exactly.
And we walked out of there with a bunch of records. I think we continue to get records from them after that too.
Walked out of there with a bunch of records. That was a great victory. Okay, next. True or false? Yeah. True or false? The song by House of Pain, Jump Around, was broken in South Florida by us. True or false?
I don't know. Is that true?
That's a fact, man. That's a fact.
I feel like
that's true.
Yeah, I feel like I would say that is true. Yes.
Yes.
In South Florida. Yes.
In South Florida, absolutely. That, yes. Free records came from, I guess it was Def Jam at the time. I don't know. And we were the first to be spinning that song. And to the credit of your great brother, Fuzz, who would just again and again and again, it was like, it was like when Nirvana hit, except different, of course.
A little different. I think the Wu-Tang record, too.
Yes.
Or at least Protect Your Neck, that single, because that came out just about the same time. And I think...
same package.
Listen, I don't think... There wasn't a whole lot of stuff going on in South Florida. So just if you were interested in hip-hop and knew your way around what was happening, it wasn't that hard to be the first person or one of the first to be playing that stuff there.
I don't think you need to diminish it in any way. It was hitting all around the country at exactly the same time. We were on the razor's edge. We basically invented hip-hop for Miami. Is that what you wanted me to say? Yes. Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
That's true. Okay, finally, you can go either direction. A bigger celebrity met by us, Rodney Dangerfield or O.J. Simpson. Go.
O.J. Simpson. I think, no?
Yes.
I mean, who else was there? Pauly Shore?
Infamous.
That doesn't really count.
I've met him a couple times by accident, trying to not recently.
It's always by accident, right?
Yeah. So true.
Yeah. Yeah, the Juice. I think we have a recording of the Juice giving us a liner for our show. Yes. And that was That was before it all happened. That was... Oh, most definitely. Yeah, he was, obviously a huge celebrity and embraced by all when we met him. Beloved. Still. Beloved man. We would not have approached for any kind of line or someone that we believe had murdered someone. Right? Sure. Right? That was one of those times that we had to create our own press credentials because I believe that was MTV Spring Break. Yes, absolutely. Maybe? Yeah, nope, totally. Sure. Worked a one-day press credential and immediately went to mailboxes, et cetera, or whatever, got it laminated, and it became a full-event credential. And the rest, as they say, is history. David, thank you very much for walking down memory lane with me a little bit. Most importantly, Florida Man, the card game. Everybody check out the Kickstarter. You can go to Kickstarter.com and search it, but I would prefer you hit our link just to see what we do. But the bottom line is the game is happening anyway, and I'm getting the game, and you should get it too. It's a fun kind of thing at parties, and it gives you an excuse to look into the eyes of another human being, if just for a few minutes. David, thank you for coming on the show. Good catching up with you. Good luck with this project. Thanks, Joe. David Ritchie, Florida Man, the card game, with us here on WFO Radio. Not motorsports oriented, but I like it. I like the whole Kickstarter is a really cool thing. I wish I could have something on Kickstarter. We don't. We have Patreon instead. We have patreon.com/WFO Radio, where we're basically just doing this, except charging for it or receiving a benefit for it, which is nice. They raised $15,000. I put them over the top. You understand? Like, that just went down. And the story is really great in that, we want you to support this. Yes, I want to support it. I'm going to support it. And while I was dragging my feet, they needed my support less and less. They were going to make it anyway. But then, as I'm getting ready for that interview, I realized they're right on the cusp. They're right on the brink. So a quick donation put them over the top. And it was my donation.
Oh, very good. Look at you.
Exactly.
What a donor.
Well, it's such a WFO thing. Like my track championship at County Line Dragway, which all you have to do is win one race and you're somehow the track champion for a whole season. I don't really understand that, but I went and I won the race. Same deal. All these people, hundreds, had supported the Florida Man card game, but they didn't put it over the top. And here I am. I just happened to log on there. I was like, all I got to do is a donation of X amount, and I'll put them over the top. They'll go over the threshold, and I will be the reason. And I did it, and I put them over the threshold. So the game is happening, everybody. It's not about, well, maybe it'll happen and maybe it won't happen. It's happening. If you want to get the game, you got to make the donation and go to Kickstarter.com, and I'm going to put the link up right now. So you will see the link on the WFO Radio Facebook page, on my personal Facebook page, and on Twitter. Is that enough places? Do we need to do a story on WFORadio.com? I don't think so. Right? Our social media, everybody has that?
I think we'll be all right for now. And if we decide to continue the push, then we'll create a story.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, I'm just wondering, are there people out there who don't do the social media at all that listen to our show? They've got nothing. They don't have Facebook or Twitter, but somehow they still listen to WFO?
Yeah, I guess so,
we have our
because they
own,
get the podcast or, directly from Apple or Google.
We have our own
however
unique,
people get their podcasts.
And they listen to the podcast, but they don't have the social media in any form.
That is possible.
I guess it's possible. I guess we'll just have to lose out on your guys' Kickstarter. That's all. We'll see. We'll make it happen. But thanks to David for coming on the show. Dave and Dave, they're the guys, just to tie it all together so everybody understands. I mentioned right at the beginning the RIP VIP app that tells you when celebrities die.
Yes.
That is one of their initial projects. These are also the guys from the Secret Headquarters comic shop in Hollywood, California, that I go to. Most recently, when I did my epic Stan Lee eulogy that aired on...
Oh, you were there, weren't you?
Not only that, but I was interviewed for Fox 11 Los Angeles.
Wow.
Right.
Look at you.
This is old news. We discussed this.
I'm just...
My big television appearance in L.A., major market TV, right, where I happened to be just standing in a comic shop when Stan Lee passed away, and here come the TV crew,
and they want Fox Force 5.
And they want to meet. They need somebody, man. They need somebody to give them a line. And I was there. I was the guy. I'll be the guy. Yes, Stan Lee changed comics forever. They took it and got the heck out of there. I saved them a bunch of work.
Yeah.
They didn't have to. They got a reliable person to say some words, and I did it. Thanks to David and David for coming on the show. And if you're ever out there, swing by if you're a comic guy, because they do. They got a lot of art stuff going on over there. So let's get into our true prime directive now, which is our WFO Radio Fantasy League, right? Do we have results up? Did I tell you I hung out with Patrick, the webmaster? Did I tell you that?
No, you did not. And I felt like if I even reached out and I said, hey, did you hang out with Patrick? And you never responded.
I did respond. I responded yes.
I don't believe that.
You miss.
I mean, you may have, but.
You miss 1 week of show and everything just goes south. I don't remember anything about who.
I don't remember anything anyway.
What? I got to set. Oh, look who's leading the pack. Let's get into Fantasy League. We're not going to do results from Richmond, obviously. That's old news. It's all old news. Martin Truex Jr. won. You know what's not old news is people talking about nobody being there again.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's not old news.
It's not. And it was a Saturday night race. I really don't know what's the excuse. I don't know if people are just fed up or if.
Fed up with what? They're fed up. What
they're
are they
fed up with everything.
This
or
is
just
it.
So.
They just don't know any of the drivers. That's my opinion.
I got to say, you mentioned that every time when we're going over the results, and really, there's 10 to a dozen names that we have no idea who they really are. I mean, we might have heard the names, but
zero connection.
Zero. They don't move the meter at all.
Zero.
And I guess there's always been guys at the back of the pack that kind of were either towards the end of their careers, guys that just, are trying to make a race and hang on, or guys that are very young and we know nothing about. But there was always the superstars and, the top-tier talent was there. And I'm not saying that the guys now are not top-tier, not talented, but they don't have that superstar connection.
Send me the results from Richmond.
From Richmond?
And we'll just read some names. But I agree. And I do want to say, all the best to Dale Jr. and the Earnhardt family. His ma passed away, long battle with cancer, and I just can't even imagine. We all prepare for the day that we're going to lose our parents or parent. Some of us, it happens earlier. Some of us it happens later. It's happening to Dale Jr. now. It's just horrible. I feel terrible for him. But the silver linings are, if you're, battling cancer and in pain and agony, that is a terrible thing. And you know what? On that note, this is a perfect opportunity. A great friend and personal mentor of mine passed away last week. And I was going to talk about this on NHRA Nitro during my time, but it's worth saying right now. Everybody has the person that kind of helps shepherd them along into a certain field, whether maybe it's good or it's bad. Maybe back alley card games and dice games isn't a good place to be, but everybody has somebody who brings them along that way, and whatever. It doesn't have to be good or bad. In the world of motorsports and racing, like personal racing, like going from being a spectator to being a racer, like learning racecraft, understanding about what goes into building a race car, a mental set for attacking a situation. Like that person, for not just for myself, but for me and my father, we were mentored together, like this father-son group. We were mentored together by a man named Ernie McDaniel. And Ernie was a chassis builder, engine builder, all-around fabricator from Davie, Florida. And when I went to Miami Hollywood Speedway, the track that I am a member of the Hall of Fame, Ernie McDaniel is also a member of the Hall of Fame. And as a young person going out into the grandstands and the bleachers and watching like Jerry Gwynn and Darrell Gwynn and other Hall of Famers from Miami Hollywood, Ernie McDaniel was always there, and he always had cutting-edge something. I'll give you an example. Before reaction times were a known thing, you have to understand that in the beginning of drag racing, when the tree came around and bracket racing was happening, initially, reaction time was not recorded. It was a total X factor. People didn't realize what was going on. Ernie figured out that the reaction gives you an advantage at the top end of the racetrack, while many others didn't. And so he went and bought a Lenco transmission for his car and launched with a clutch. And so that gave him the ability to have a much better reaction time than many of the other cars out there. And so he was able to be dominant in early era bracket racing. When delay boxes came around, he was an early adopter to the delay box. When four-link suspensions came around, he had a unbelievable 1969 Chevy Nova that he totally cut it to its bare body and built it back up in a Jerry Haas-style chassis that was one of the first of its kind for a classic-era car, like a Pro Mod Top Sportsman style car, but in the mid-1980s. Nitrous oxide, fogger systems, all that. Ernie built my race car. And so this is very weird for me because he is now deceased, and I have like an embodiment of his work.
An art?
Whatever it would be. Is it a work of art? Is it a fabrication? What is it? This is
nothing but a piece, one of his creations.
A piece of his soul. And he worked his tail off on that thing and innovated many things, elements to it that people will not understand. An artist with a TIG welder, not a MIG welder, but a TIG welder, built our engines. So in like 1984, 85, 83, my father and I'm just a little boy, got my mother a second car. And so our 78 Pontiac Trans Am became our car to play with. And so
could I just interject really quick there? Your mom owned the TA? I mean, own your
We
parents.
were a one-car family.
Okay, so that was the only car.
Only car was the 1978 Pontiac Trans Am.
Your mom has a cool car. But it was the family car. It was a cool family car then, by the way. Not a little, but the fact that a family and a sports car and, the whole 2 doors and kind of uncomfortable in the back seat and all
Different
that.
era, though, man. Different era. We traded in a 1970 Pontiac Grand Prix, maybe 1971, 2-door Pontiac Grand Prix.
Right.
When I was like a little boy. When I was alive, the first car I think I was ever in, believe it or not, and this is just a horrible stat and I have nothing to do with it, was like a 70 Beetle. Mom had a Beetle, which is just
like the Volkswagen? The little, yeah.
Yes, Ferdinand Porsche.
My cousin's dad
car.
had one of those.
A Beetle.
It was like that rust-colored, burnt red.
Hers was powder blue. And I guess I was in the Beetle for a little while.
The 71 Grand Am's a cool liquor.
Grand Prix.
Grand Prix.
I can barely even. It was brown. I can barely even. So in 1977, late 77, 78, the 78s are on the lot. Dad goes to JM Pontiac, and this is the car that he buys as my mom's and his daily driver. Dad had his GMC pickup truck he went to work on. It was actually a dump truck, and this was the car I went to kindergarten in. White with the red bird on the hood, red interior as you see it when you watch my Facebook videos when I bracket race, my bracket race car. And so in 1984, we got a Pontiac 6000 LE 4-door for my mom to be my mom's car. You know, business was going good. My dad's little business. We were able, American dream, to buy a second car. Oh my gosh, really? We're going to have 2 cars, Dad? Yeah, wow, the American dream. I've lived it, baby. I've lived it. And so now Dad and I can start to play with this Trans Am because it is his car to play with. It is our car, father and son, to play with. So we went to Horsepower Sales and we bought an intake manifold and a camshaft and some Moroso valve covers and a Holly double pumper, which I was talking to Stevie Fast Jackson about Holly double pumper today.
Look at that.
And
we tie it all together.
We fixed it out, and we fixed it up, and we brought it to Miami Hollywood Speedway, and we made a couple of runs and ran in the 13s, and we did some things. We even had a Mr. Gasket scoop, like a supercharger-style scoop with the butterflies, a butterfly scoop, but with the carburetor. It stuck out of the hood and everything, and it was crazy. So one night, we've been performing, we've been working on the car. Dad brings it up there. This is Dad's driving. I'm not driving. I'm a little boy. I'm 12, 11. 9, 10, I don't know, right? I guess 12 years old. Dad brings it out there and launches the car. Something breaks in the rear end because we had the rear gear changed. Something breaks in the rear end, snaps hard left, hits the wall, smashes the car. Destruction. Hood, front fascia, fenders. Crashed, destroyed. We had a custom paint job on it from the begin with. So Dad, we're very sad. I know it was hard on my dad. Was a little, even to this day, I'm sad about it. Like, Dad, what the heck? And it turned out.
You blamed your dad, of course, like all good children do.
Thank you for saying that. But I did.
No, of course.
What happened, Dad?
I could
what
so
are you
relate.
doing?
My son yells at me every time he makes a mistake and does something wrong, like if it's my fault.
And meanwhile,
but it is partially my fault.
My dad is in there, and the rear end broke. And so now the people who had done the rear end were all of a sudden like, not reliable. So who do we bring this to now? Because we're not going to quit. Who do we bring this to? Who can do a good job? Who can make things right? Who can set us on the right path? If we're going to do this, I'm going to play with cars. We're going to play with cars with someone who is going to be the right person to do this. We're going to learn the right freaking way. Who's the guy? Ernie McDaniel. And so we went over there, and the rest is freaking history. Got the car done. Rear end, traction bars set up in a very nice way. Made great friends with his son Dwayne and his daughter Dale, and they did, just opened the door to me as a young kid, teenager, early teen, growing up, that whole period. How to bracket race, what's going on with this bracket racing thing, how to understand it, how to drive the top end. I went out and won a high school track championship in a pickup truck with their tutelage. Dwayne raced our car at the 5-day bracket race and went to the semifinal round in street trim. Lost to Steve Cohen, by the way, gave up the win light. 3 cars. Like 1990, I was 17. Then the next day, blew it up. And Ernie and Dwayne felt a little bad that they blew up our car, and so cut us a deal to do it the way it is now, the way you see it. That it's been in the centerfold of 3 or 4 magazines, Division II Best Appearing Car, Moroso Motorsports Park Track Champion, 11th overall at the 5-day bracket race. Right? That car. All Ernie McDaniel. Now, other people have helped us over the years. Pontiac engine, he didn't want to do Pontiac, wanted to do Big Block Chevrolet. So, a great, friendship born of that. Last week, Ernie died. Had moved to Pennsylvania. His son, Dwayne, had moved to Pennsylvania. And, I'm going to have to do this whole story again. Maybe I can just, cut it and paste it in my time. But it was very sad, and I found myself genuinely, moved, bothered, upset, saddened by it. Because there is no freaking way, and I've used the word freaking 3 times because I'm trying to, demonstrate the emotion that is here, that I would be where I am doing what I'm doing without Ernie and Dwayne McDaniel. No way. The knowledge that I got. And also the ability to extract information from difficult and challenging people. Probably the greatest gift, because he was a Scotch Irishman who was quiet. You hear about these people who are quiet and difficult to get to know. And that was Ernie. And I got to know him, and it was great stuff. And it is sad. It is sad. And we're working on an obit for the National Dragster. And, the local community, the racing community, is bothered by it. Bummed out. Won Super Gas DeSoto 1981. I had Louis Bloom look that one up. Super Gas pioneer. So, Ernie, rest in peace. We're thinking about you, bud. Now it's time for Fantasy League on WFO Ignition. Because see what happens? You miss a week. All kinds of stuff happens. We haven't talked Tiger Woods yet. Tiger Woods. Okay. Low blinker fluid wins the week at Richmond. I'm not going to do all of these. 332. Derail 100, 327 seconds. Smothered and covered third, 326. Craig and Newhall, 326. Lug Nuts, 324. Dirty Hippies, 320. Little Low, 318. And at this point, may I say congratulations to Mrs. Lowe for winning 2 medals in some sort of bikini contest that I'm not really understanding what it is. Whether it's a fitness model thing, or whether it's designing of the bikini, or that I don't know. But I know that Miss Lowe, Fernando's wife and mother of his children, who are wonderful, is also, we always joke about how she's hot. Well, now she's won medals in some sort of bikini competition. Something about bikini. And I saw that on Twitter, and I was like, Lowe is an amazing character. Wonderful person. And Little Lowe, 318, is doing pretty well in this fantasy thing. He's taking it pretty serious. Doing good job, Little Lowe. A26 guy. Feel free to update me on what's going on, or maybe I'm totally got it wrong. But I don't know. I saw photographs with medals and read the tweet. Do you see what I'm talking?
No, I don't see it. I don't see it under Lowe, so.
I saw it somewhere, man.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you did. I don't think you're making stuff up.
It's possible that I'm just...
It could have been on Facebook or something. I don't see it on Twitter, so...
all of this up.
Yeah, I highly doubt that.
I'll find it. It's just because I want to prove that I'm not crazy.
Absolutely.
Beer Stole, 316. Bug Barn, that's Bobby. What's up, Bobby? 315, Uper 1, 313, 85 Racing, and that's it. Okay. Now we're going up to the overall standings, and this is what matters.
The important stuff.
The overall leader. Full season. Let me click this. Let me make sure it's right. Maybe it's right. Patrick the Webmaster continues to lead by 24 points over I Can See Her Almirolas. 89 over Derail 100. 96 over Little Low. Little Low is in the top 5.
Incredible.
All they do is win. All they do is
win.
There are
a bunch of winners over there.
She's winning the contest with the medals.
He's not top 5. He's 4th,
Little Low is, not just top 5, 4th.
Well, because top 5 could be 5th.
He is
4th.
Better than 20% of the top 5.
He's closer to 3rd than he is 5th, and that's why I made reference to that.
She's winning medals. He's the reigning WFO Radio Fantasy League World Champ, as indicated by his name on the trophy. Little Low is in the top 5 in the points. What's missing here?
Dad.
No, Miss Little Low, man. Miss Little Low. She's got to have some sort of accolade. What is she winning? You're going to have to rectify that situation, Miss Little Low. 5th, Jambalaya J Racing. 6th, Bulls Wool. 7th, Double O Dead On. 8th, Mr. Fantasy NASCAR, 129 back.
Tied with Royal Flush.
Tied with Royal Flush Racing. And 10th, Elephant Racers. Now on the 5s, just to get everybody up to speed where they are. Rich and Saugus, 165 back, 15th. Behind Smothered and Covered and ahead of Dirt Girl.
Tied with Dirt Girl.
Tied with Dirt Girl. Sorry, Dirt Girl. Just ahead of Bug Barn. Let's see.
You all right there, man?
20th, Team 12. I'm fine. I can't scroll. That's it. It only shows me 25.
I can't read her Almirolas.
I can't read her Almirolas. 20th, Team 12, just ahead of Southern Racer X, which is Mr. Stubo.
There you go.
Yeah. 25th, Fat Tire, 22. And there you go. That's everything because I'm not getting the PDF. Here we go. PDF coming at you. PDF. Stand by.
Hey, I'll fit.
No, they put the numbers next to the PDF this week. That's interesting.
Wow, how awesome is that?
25th, Fat Tire 22. 30th, it's a
there
big tie.
Technically is no 30th.
No, there's a tie for 29th. Find Time to Leave Me Loose Wheel and Team English tied for 29th, just ahead of Stubo, Super Gas Crew Chief. 35th, Low Blinker Fluid. 40th, Miss Shift Bent Valve, who is just behind Dirt Girl number 2 and Gio in Miami. Gio, you're 38th.
We know who Mischief Bent Valve is. Remember, I had them fix the spelling because I called them out.
What was it?
It's somebody that reached out to us recently.
Who you don't remember. Neither do I. What happened? Mischief Bent Valve. I'm sorry. Hockey Dad, 45th. Hockey Kid, 47th. Gary Corbett, Grammy Award winner, 48th. Tied with Mark, 23. 50th is 8-5 Racing. That is Rich, right? 55th, WFO Joe. That's me, baby. Just behind JJ and ahead of Lowe. That's right, Lowe. Oh, Lowe. Not going to go back-to-back. It's over. 421 points back. Put it this way. If Lowe can make it to the top, that means I can make it to the top. And I'm not making it to the top. That's not happening. You're done. You're done, Lowe. 60th, Team Gray. What's happening with Team Gray?
Team Gray has some issues at home sometimes, and he's not allowed to, and he gets stuck with the same team for weeks in a row.
And Buffalo Butt Breath Racing, that's Miss Little Lowe.
That's Miss Little Lowe, so
65th.
she's crap.
She's not playing.
And Best B. West Dyke, 24.
What did you say?
B. West Dyke.
B. West Dyke, 24.
What? I'm not making stuff up.
Yeah.
What? No, look, Race Guitar is beating that person.
Yes, good job, Race Guitar.
And Featree is way down there. Easy 009. These are guys that historically have been a lot closer to the front.
I think they're playing. It's just tough. Getting used to this new league is a real challenge.
I gotta admit, it's been very difficult for me too.
Me too. Life's tough now, man. Life's getting tougher every day. I did not see Featree out there at Houston. I missed him. He might have been there. I don't know. I did see Patrick, the webmaster, and Patrick's young daughters.
Interesting.
They're in their early 20s.
Oh, he posted a picture.
Did he?
Are they in their 20s?
Yes.
They look like teenagers or something.
No, they're in their 20s, man. They're living their lives.
What do I know?
They're
difference
their
between
thing.
17 or 22.
Patrick's got his hands full of
They
them.
all look the same to me.
It's a great challenge for poor Pat.
I saw one of them has like blue hair and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I saw a picture. He posted a picture online.
It's like a punk rock girl.
Yeah, just you and me, punk rock girl.
Exactly. But they're very smart, and that's the thing. At the same time, half the time people say we weep for the future, right? We're all doomed. They're going to eat us. And their kids are so nice. Like, I run into so many nice kids.
I run into nice kids.
I run into nice kids that make me feel good
as
about
opposed to these jerks that I hang out with all the time.
Oh, my gosh, they're going to eat us. They're not going to eat us. Sitting in the bar with Kathy Fisher doing performance TV after work, we go and we hang and we sit at the bar and bar fly it. And there was like two young men, 22, 23, who have a profession that they have to be in the hotel. And I got into a conversation. 3 of them, actually. One was there for like a rugby league. 2 others were there because of their job. We had nobody knows anybody, right? We had a very in-depth, deep conversation about just this. Like, are you guys going to eat us? And they were like the nicest kids, hard-working. It's a joke. I don't think they're going to eat.
I get it.
Listen, they try to eat me, man, they're going to get the what for. I'm not going to take this dude down real easy. Get the doors barricaded and the whole thing. No, they were very nice kids. They were young. They're 20s. They're grown-ups. But they're kids. It was very nice. All right, let's go into that exercise we're doing with the names of NASCAR drivers that connect with somebody. And you'll be the test person. Connection or no connection. Some people, few people, no people. You can characterize it as you will. Okay, ready? And we're just going to go right down the list. You can maybe list. We'll hash it out. This is a, what's wrong with NASCAR? Why are nobody showing up? Kind of discussion. Martin Truex Jr., a champion, an excellent driver, an Xfinity champion, drove for Dale Jr. Connection or no connection? I'm talking to you, Jerky. I said the name, Martin Truex Jr. Connection or no connection? Giovanni in Miami. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he has a slight connection, yes.
Okay, but he's a champion, and his fan base has got to be relatively small compared to...
He's the overall champion in everything. I was just thinking...
Joey Logano is the current champion.
Yeah, no, but he won a championship the year before.
He did win a championship, and he's finished in the top 5, 2 years. He's got an underdog story going on. But he, compared to past champions, like a guy like, I'm going to pull a name out of my hat, Dale Jarrett. Dale Jarrett.
Right.
Not Dale Jr., Jarrett.
I think Truex Jr. has fans and so forth, but I don't think he's got that connection with regular overall fan.
Crossover, nothing. He's got a fraction of the NASCAR fandom. Joey Logano.
I think he does. I think he's very popular because of the whole young guy still, and the kids gravitate towards him.
Kids did gravitate towards him, but...
They still do. A lot of the kids, most of the kids root for Joey.
Okay, Clint Boyer. There's some star power there. I feel like Clint's got some stuff, but never... he's not just next level, man. Clint Boyer is remember the guy, the other RCR guy that when Richard Childress Racing had the Jack Daniels car and they're going to bring up Clint Boyer, and Clint Boyer battled Martin Truex Jr., and those two were battling each other, and they were like the stars of the second-tier series. Do you remember that? That was what was happening. Truex and Boyer were battling each other for Xfinity, Busch, or Nationwide championships. They were the stars of the second-tier series, and then they moved up. They're still the stars of the second-tier series. It's just that the regular stars are all gone. That's what I'm trying to convey. They're great guys. They're cool, but I don't feel like they ever blew up to fill the spot that was vacated by the stars of that era. Follow me?
I'm totally with you.
Kevin Harvick. He's a superstar.
He is.
Superstar. Kevin Harvick. Superstar.
Yeah. It'd be nice if he won another championship and was able to get out there more to put the sport.
And this is the whole big 3-and-me thing, because we're going to get to another one. But even Harvick, is Harvick as big as Jeff Gordon was?
No, absolutely not.
Is Kevin Harvick as big as Tony Stewart was? No.
No, and I'll give you one. I don't know who it was, but I think it happened. Someone tried to throw out there the other day is Kyle Busch the sports Tiger Woods?
What?
And I almost fell off my rocker.
Who said that?
It was like somebody called in and asked on one of the radio shows, or it was one of the questions. A fan actually proposed a question.
What radio show are you listening to that they're talking NASCAR?
We don't need to get into particulars here. It wasn't like on AM radio. It was, one of those nationwide shows.
All right.
But
that's insane.
Yeah, it was just that, and I guess the fan, proposed that question. And while Kyle Busch is arguably, the best driver right now, and he wins a lot of races and all that, as much as he could win 200 races in Cup Series alone, and he would never beat Tiger Woods because he just doesn't move the needle like that. He would already be doing it. And
Jeff Gordon is NASCAR's Tiger
fan,
Woods.
Right.
Jeff Gordon is NASCAR's Tiger Woods. The only analogy, the only possible analogy, and it's complex, but the only possible analogy is Jeff Gordon, Tiger Woods.
And that was the first thing I thought right there. Like, that person clearly doesn't understand the Tiger Woods phenomena. Like, regular people will turn on the golf tournament to watch Tiger Woods. No one's going, oh, this Kyle Busch guy is great. Let me turn on the NASCAR race.
No. In fact, there are NASCAR people who are turned off by it.
Yeah, but what have you? Yes, the NASCAR fans either love or hate him or just.
But he's a superstar, though.
He's semi-polarizing within his own sport.
And that's good.
And he's a superstar of the sport.
Good for him.
But he is not, like, mainstream. Like Tiger Woods, what happened at the Masters the other day. I mean, my mom was essentially asked me, she's like, oh, are you watching the thing? How great that this Tiger Woods might win again.
Tiger Woods winning the Masters. I'm very disappointed I did not get to enjoy it. That's one of the things that I'm a little bummed out about. Where were we? That was last weekend? When was it? That was last Sunday. Was I in Houston? Is that where I was?
You were in Houston.
So
you
it's
were
a total
working.
block out for me.
Yeah, no,
Reinhardt comes over to the microphone and says, Tiger Woods won the Masters. I'm like, spoiler alert. There's people out there.
Well, I kind of kept you a little bit up to date I was texting you, with the updates.
I was receiving push notifications the whole weekend. And I am genuinely bummed I didn't get to enjoy that, because that is one of the most significant sporting happenings of the century, of the 2000s. That Tiger Woods wins the Masters is one of the single biggest, we're talking Sports Collision now, sports happenings.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe of our lifetime, considering his career trajectory and all that happened.
Absolutely.
And I was very disappointed to see some people posting about he's a bad guy because of what he did to his wife. Like, come on, man, enough.
First of all, it's none of your business what he did to his wife, whomever it is that would post
I
something
like people to be
like
a good people, but he has paid his dues for that, man. He's been kicked around, dragged through the mud.
That's the least of it. How many of these insert athlete or entertainer's name or whomever that person roots for, that he doesn't know what that person is like, and just because that person hasn't been caught doing something doesn't mean that he doesn't do it.
There's a lot of people in our lives now that are not good people, but you just got to go with what's going on. You got to keep on going.
And by the way, the fact that Tiger Woods had some sort of relationship, personal issues with his wife does not mean that he's a bad person per se. Maybe he's just not a good husband or a loyal husband or whatever the case may be.
Or had no idea how to be a good husband because he didn't receive that training because he's a little golf robot. His dad made a golf robot, and he made the best golf robot ever, and maybe did not teach him about those other aspects of life.
Well, it's like everything in life, that if you have the tunnel vision to only do and to be that great at something like he is, you are deficient in other aspects of life.
Absolutely. And when he lost his dad, then he went to Perkins and realized, hey, what?
Everybody else loves me. Why not?
Right. And he's
Look,
got a little freakiness going on. Let's admit.
But again, that's none of our business, and it's really not our problem.
No. And by the way, that's not even the story. The story is overcoming injury and reinventing himself and reinventing his game and not giving up and hard work. That's the story. Not giving up. He had every reason to just hang it up, man. Super multimillionaire. Never could spend every dollar if he worked hard every single day like Brewster and Brewster's Millions to spend every single dollar. He could not do it.
I just heard an interview with him recently, as I believe it was last year, the year before, that he wasn't even wanting to be captain of the Ryder Cup or one of those, turn kind of things because it hurt to sit in the golf cart.
I'm sure
he was in physical pain. He essentially had given up because he thought that he wasn't going to be able to physically do it ever again.
And the idea that this guy comes all the way back and wins the Masters,
and not only that,
unbelievable.
He did the first time he's ever come back to win a tournament. Sorry, not a tournament, but a major that he wasn't winning on the final day already going in. Like he came back from behind. He was 2 shots down at the start of the day or 3. But either way, it was great. The one thing is that I don't know exactly why, but scheduling or for whatever reason,
yes,
they ran it at 9 o'clock in the morning is when they started playing.
Well, they had some sort of inclement weather coming through. Remember?
Okay, so it's all right. Yeah,
and they did threesomes instead of twosomes.
Right, I did notice all that, and I think that led to a little bit of the ratings not being as high as they could have been, but they were still astronomical. Unbelievable.
Well,
I mean,
the NHRA actually benefited from that because the tournament was over when our program was finishing up. But, okay, so this conversation we're having that absolutely transcends the fact that we're supposed to be a motorsports-themed show, and we're talking Florida Man card game, and then Tiger Woods comes up, and everything. Reinhardt comes over to the mic, mentions that Tiger wins, everyone at the drag race, like the world freaking stopped. There's that word freaking again.
Fracking.
It stopped. Because Tiger Woods won the Masters. There's nobody who didn't know. Is there any analogy to what we're talking about? No. And no offense.
NASCAR, no,
well, when
not.
Dale Earnhardt won the Daytona 500,
yes,
there's something.
That would be one, right?
There's a something moment, like an over the top moment. We don't have the option. Let me just continue on a couple more, and then we'll stop this senseless exercise. Denny Hamlin.
Unfortunately, not a lot.
I'm going to go quicker. Austin Dillon.
I would say very little to nothing.
Richard Childress's grandkid. Many people who you might love Richard Childress, oh man, I love Richard Childress because he was Earnhardt's his grandkid. Like, okay, who cares? Great, good for his grandkid that he got a ride. He's a talented kid, but there's also
he doesn't move the needle.
No,
unfortunately,
Brad Keselowski.
I mean,
star, but
yeah, and he does slightly, but no, it doesn't cross over.
Nope. Kyle Busch. Ryan Newman, Paul Menard, Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson, running the marathon. That crosses over, but he's at the end of his reign.
Absolutely. He is, and as great as he is and has been, he hasn't won a race now in a year and a half.
And when Jimmy gets back going again, there's the possibility for the big comeback story.
There is, of course.
If Jimmy goes on and wins a championship, wins another Daytona 500, something like that.
But I would say that right now,
that'll get love.
By far, not just the championships, but he is the only real, actual superstar in the sport.
Crossover superstar that if you go to like an NFL player and say, hey, name some other stars from other sports, they might name Jimmy Johnson.
He might be the only one, and since Dale Jr. left, really, I don't know that there's anybody in any other sport that, unless they follow at a little bit, that they would even recognize.
Well, what about Matt Tifft?
Sorry, Matt.
And that's the point, and that's all I'm trying to say, is that is the problem with what's going on with NASCAR. Now, maybe these guys will grow and build, but maybe they won't. And that's why there's no one in the stands, because there's no reason to be in the stands, because you've seen the cars go around already. We know what that's like. The cars going around. This one goes this way, and this one goes that way, and this guy passes this guy, and this one battles that guy, and there's battling. But people want to care about these people. And you cared about...
And that's just it, because at least I would say that the races I've watched...
Can I name a guy?
They're a little more competitive now, and there's more passing.
Yes.
And even races where it seems like one guy leads 100 laps, or a quarter of the race, there's action going on. So it's not that the racing sucks.
They've made the racing good.
They're working on it. And they've worked on it. And I think they've gotten to a point where, it's no longer follow the leader. And we're not at a point where on the 1.5 mile tracks that one guy just off the truck finds the setup and boom, next thing you know, he's got a 20-second lead.
And so the name I was going to mention, just to throw out there as an example of personalities from the past that had people that cared. Okay?
Okay.
Ward Burton.
Ward
Burton was not a superstar at any time. Ward Burton had fans, man. There were fans of Ward Burton. Ward Burton went out there and earned his fans, and people liked Ward Burton, who is just a guy. So what is our modern-day equivalent to a Ward Burton? Like, who is the guy? And that's what has to happen, and that's who's failing right now. You know who's failing? The drivers are failing. The racing is as good or better than ever. The cars are prettier than they've been. They're looking pretty cool, man. You got Camaros and Mustangs. You got interesting cars out there. The racing itself, there's more action and passing and stuff going on. Who's failing? The drivers. Who are these guys? Why do I care? What's the point? Who are they? How'd they get there? They didn't do like Ward Burton, which is dominate short tracks throughout the South and climb his way of fighting and claw with wins and checkered flags to the big show. And that's the difference. And it's a sad thing, but it doesn't mean it's always going to be like that. That's just how it is right now. You know, you got a guy like Kyle Larson. I'm looking at his name just to be critical for a second. Kyle Larson runs, finished dead last, which is unfortunate, but is Cup Series racing Kyle Larson's favorite style of racing?
Probably not.
Right.
I mean, I don't know for sure, but if I were to guess, he would probably love the dirt stuff.
Exactly. And that's
open wheel dirt stuff.
That's my point. I know this is taking like a turn for the negative, but this is why there's nobody in the stands. This is why. Kyle Larson isn't out there running the Cup Series because of a passion that he loves it and he's out there and he's got to be there. No, he goes to the dirt track for that.
Right.
He's out there because it's the show and that's where the money is, and that's how he becomes a millionaire. And that is the problem. That is the problem. Man, I missed the Tiger Woods story. I'm bummed out about that. All right, what else we got? So Dega this weekend, no plates, going to be interesting. What are we going to see? I don't know. I'm eager to see it. Will I get to see it? No.
Well, I guess in theory the cars are going to have more horsepower.
They may have more horsepower, but what they're really going to have is more throttle response. Not a lot, but more than if they had a plate.
That could be good. I mean, we're going to find out.
I have no clue. The drafting could be insane.
You know when we're going to find out?
The slingshots could be insane.
On Friday when they first practice.
Yes, which is that's exciting. I'm excited about that. All right, and we'll just leave it there. We have not done a picks show in a while. The picks show, I think, is over.
Oh, vey.
I just don't see it happening, man. I travel every weekend. You're, Bob Smith and Rich and everybody that makes picks. It's like it just doesn't happen to get on the air.
It has been a little difficult, and especially
doing the show on Monday.
With the
just
Monday
killed
show,
the
really.
pick show.
Yeah.
Video killed the radio star. Monday show killed the pick show.
Monday show killed the picks. We'll see what happens. It's still early on. We're 9 races in. Speaking of 9 races in, all 9 races have been won by Joe Gibbs Racing and Penske.
Wow. That's a little bit of a stat.
Yeah, and dating back to last year, they've won 12 of the last 13.
So let's continue our conversation then. Hendrick Motorsports.
That's kind of been an issue where they've, and they got 3 young guys and Jimmy. Maybe that's also part of the reason why it's been a little more difficult to come out of it, where they got a new car, a new body, and so forth, and you really only have one totally experienced guy being able to give in the input. But it's Hendrick right now. It seems a little lost. I mean, and they're not even really competing for wins.
Math tells you that Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, and William Byron, they're not all going to develop into superstars. That's math. There's no way 100%
right.
of the new drivers are going to excel. That's not possible. So
it's highly unlikely. It's
going
not
all the way back.
impossible,
Going
but...
all the way back, Hendrick has never had all 4 cars
correct
killing it at the same time. I don't think it's ever going all the way back. So someone's not working out. Who's it going to be? Maybe the young guy strategy is not working out. And a lot of these racers, they bailed, man. Took the money and got out. Whereas back in the day, there was a lot of folks doing it for the love into their late 40s, early 50s. It's just a different sport right now. We got to get through a certain era. And I think more people will come in from other areas. Like Ryan Blaney. Another thing, where are the young guys? Like, come on. Bubba.
I think a few of these
Get
younger
up there,
guys
Bubba.
just really got to get their thing going and win some races. And, we got to allow for their personality to come through. And and see what happens.
Yeah. But the best drivers, though, are right at the top. Truex, Logano, Boyer, Harvick, Hamlin.
Yeah, Brad K, Kyle.
Best drivers right there. The cream is rising. Kurt Busch, Jimmy Johnson. There's your top 12. So there it is. There it is. Very interesting.
By the way, Kurt Busch has shown another thing that he showed when he went to run the 78 car before Truex Jr. did, that he's a hell of a wheelman. No matter what car or whether it's a little bit not quite as good, or because all of a sudden he's been driving the pants off of Kyle Larson. When it was Kyle Larson and McMurray in the car, Larson looked like, the up-and-comer. He was winning the races. But ever since Kurt Busch got in the car, he's the one that's been, threatening to win races and running up front.
I always liked Kurt. I was on Kurt's side when Jimmy Spencer punched him in the face. Wow. No, I was, man. I was on his side. I thought that was terrible. How about Haas F1's website still has the Chinese Grand Prix race recap?
Yeah, I was reading that earlier.
Where is the pre-Azerbaijan press release?
No, they're not ready yet.
What's up with that? So the Haas F1 report.
I think they're still mourning. Well, we could do mourning. It was not a great day at 1000th Grand Prix in China. We finished 11th and 13th after starting, I believe, 9th and 10th. And the car just hasn't had that race pace, as they call it.
Let me read the story by Jonathan Noble off motorsport.com. Haas boss Gunther Steiner says he is already preparing himself for disappointment in Baku with the track's characteristics worse for his car than recent venues. The American-owned outfit is struggling this year with his VF19 that cannot get enough heat into its tires and is especially vulnerable on tracks with long straights and tighter corners like Azerbaijan. With a solution to its problems unlikely to be found quickly, Steiner reckons his best approach is to adjust expectations accordingly.
Yeah, well.
Of course, something I'm used to doing, lowering expectations. We just need to find a solution to this problem because we didn't have this, obviously, in winter testing because the Barcelona track is completely different to the tracks like Bahrain, China, and Baku. And Baku is even worse. I'm readying myself for the disappointment. I hope we find something before Baku because in these racetracks, we cannot get energy into the tire. Steiner believes that Haas and its design partner, Dallara, will be able to get on top of what is happening, as he does not think the situation boils down to a concept problem with the car. I think it's not the concept, because a concept we need to take and change the whole car, he explained. We need to find a solution, but whatever it is, don't call it a concept. I feel like I understand that. It's a combination. It will be Aeroworks, Vehicle Dynamics, and the design office. Everybody works on it together. There is not one group who works on it and tells the other what to do. That would be too easy. So everything is all cocked. One of the positives for Steiner is that the following race in Spain should be better for the car with high-speed corners and relatively short straights better suited to what is needed. We didn't have the problem there in the winter when it was pretty cold, so why should it come back? I cannot foresee that one. Also, the track has got high-energy corners, so we should be able to not have it there. It's more on these tracks with low-energy corners. We've had two of them, and a third one is coming, where you don't have high-energy corners, and you have long straights. That's a bummer. This has been the Haas F1 Report here on WFO Ignition. And the story presented by motorsports.com, Jonathan Noble. That feels like familiar. That's a very Ferrari-style problem. The low-speed corner tracks are not the tracks that they excel at. Right. High-speed corner tracks, they excel at, like Monza. But they haven't even won that the past couple of years. And what were you saying at the start of the deal? Ferrari is lost? Ferrari is lost.
They're lost.
They're lost.
They're lost. They've lost their way.
Buried alive. Yeah, it's sad. Lewis, and at the same time, Lewis is the best of the best. and maybe the best that there's ever been.
I wouldn't go that far just yet, but
maybe the best there's ever been. Michael Schumacher.
Senna.
Yeah, we don't know what would happen to Senna in his late career. He was definitely a spectacular driver and unbelievable, won everything, but Lewis, just steady. Just wins. Win machine. Goes out there, dominates, lives life. Zest for living.
Definitely partying and having fun.
And Senna had that too. I'm not saying Lewis is better than Senna, but I'm saying you can't make a hands-down argument that Senna is better than Lewis.
No, I just not ready to crown Lewis the greatest of all time yet.
Yeah, well, what needs to happen? Schumacher, greatest of all time. And Lewis ever is able to get to that, what is it, 91 Grand Prix?
I mean, Lewis is slowly
7
creeping
championships
up there and getting his.
How many championships does Lewis have?
4.
Only 4? Or is it 5 now? I think it's 5. He broke the tie with Vettel. Vettel has 4, right? I don't have my Formula One driver stats right off the top of my head. That's why we have Giovanni. That's why we have Giovanni. You're welcome. You're welcome. So I saw a couple of movies. Game of Thrones was on. New York Yankees. All of these things are happening.
5-time world championship.
There it is.
His 5th one this past year. So you are
okay, so
definitely correct.
Let's see. This year is 6, barring unforeseen, unknowable circumstance like he gets kidnapped or injured.
Yeah.
But other than that, what happens that derails the Lewis? I know it's early, but what has to happen taking out those two things that I just said? He's kidnapped or a horrific injury that nobody wants to see, like on-track, racing-themed stuff that Lewis somehow loses the world championship this year based on what we're seeing. It would have to be circumstance.
But Valtteri's been running strong.
Valtteri is just going to step up and just start beating Lewis on a regular basis and beat him out for the drivers' championship within the team. You see that? I don't.
I don't foresee it, but I mean that wouldn't be shocking if he lost to Valtteri.
I think it would. We have our own takes. It would be shocking. What would be more or less shocking? That happening or Giovanni running 2 miles? Giovanni running 2 miles. Definitely. More shocking than Valtteri beating Lewis heads up. Definitely.
Here I thought you might have forgotten about all that running 2-mile crap.
Got to bring it back, man. No, it's a real thing. Are you kidding? People are sending texts, emails. They're tweeting at you, at Giovanni in Miami. Go, Gio, you can do it. And other people are like, you're never going to make it. That's what I'm going to do the whole time. Once you hit the mile mark, I'm going to start reading tweets to you. I'm going to read tweets. You clip-clopping along? Because you got to clip-clop along. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. That's running. You're running. You're running. You're not walking. You're running. You kidding? You're going to break down. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Should we video the whole thing?
That could be a long video.
20 minutes.
You're going to have to edit it.
To run for Gio, to do what? You could do a 10-minute mile.
Hopefully.
If you're doing more than a 10-minute mile, it's not running.
Whoa. You said there was no time limit as long as I'm not walking.
But you have to run.
Yeah, well.
So it's somewhere in the two, like the math crisscrosses.
So a 10-minute mile would mean 6 miles an hour.
Okay.
Yeah. Not too many people are jogging 6 miles an hour. Like,
I don't know what. Well, I think walking speed is 3 miles an hour.
What, are you out of your mind?
I don't know. What's average walking speed?
Oh, okay. Okay, no. I thought you meant like a 3-minute mile. I just totally misheard you.
I'll bring it up right now. The internet knows this. Internet knows. Average walking speed. The average human walking speed at crosswalks is 3.1 miles per hour.
So that's about a 20-minute mile walking.
So cut that in half.
All right.
See what I'm saying? This is going to be great. This is one of my best ever. How did you let this happen?
So maybe a 30-minute time limit here.
But you wouldn't be running.
Look.
You wouldn't be running.
We just said I could do, as long as it's faster than 3 miles an hour, it's not walking.
It's not going to happen. Okay. Let's, so we talked, did we give Tiger as much love? Time for Sports Collision, everybody. Sports Collision. Sports Collision. I can tell you that the New York Yankees are deadlocked with the Anaheim Angels. The Boston Red Sox are not playing the best baseball, but they're coming on now just because the
average jogging speed is considered 4 to 6 miles an hour.
Okay. Isn't that what I said?
So about 10 to 15 minutes a mile. So 20 to 30 minutes sounds about the right time.
You think you're going to run for 30 straight minutes?
No.
Exactly.
That's why I plan on getting done before that.
And that is
but no, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if I could go 20 straight minutes run. I'm going to have to be moving faster than I expect. This isn't riding the bike. I could definitely ride bike for 2 miles.
That's not the bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the equivalent
I could do
of
5 push-ups, too. That's not the bet. This is the best.
Yeah, but what's the equivalent of a 2-mile jog on a bike?
Nothing. That's not what we're talking about.
Whoa, what do you mean?
I'm going to paint a line on the ground. I'm going to bring my air horn. I'm going to make a big deal of it. Who wants to come? Rich and Saugus, fly down.
Well, that's not the Rich that's going to want to fly down and make fun of me.
Oh, Rich York of the Dirty Hippies will be there yelling at you. Yeah, you're a bum.
But that might actually get me to finish.
Oh, well, exactly. Motivation. I don't think there's anything that can happen that's going to overpower the squeezing of the lungs that happens when those
I don't think it's that. I think it's the rest of my fat ass that isn't going to be able to make it.
Capillaries start to burn on the inside. And you're like, you're huffing and puffing, and you're like, you can't get the air, and you're trying, and you can't in your body, and then you collapse, and you'll be like crawling over the line.
Look, it's all a matter of whether I can last the actual the jog time, because I can guarantee you that I know for sure, fact, that I could ride that bike for 15 to 18 minutes before I've given out. No, this is a fact because I've ridden it recently.
I know.
And so I don't want to get too much into the distance that I cover there because it does say it, but, you know.
Sitting on a seat.
Here it is. Well, it's not sitting, though, because the legs are pumping, man. I'm moving. I'm
here
moving
it is.
out.
Bam. In your face.
And so the real question is if I can maintain the speed for those, you know, being able to jog around for those 16 minutes.
Right. Can't.
Because I know I could ride a bike for 16 minutes straight
really
without stopping. By the way, because this is, you know, like, you know.
You know what, though, really? You should thank me. Because this is a thing. This is a goal now you have. You went from directionless to now a goal-oriented person. We got a whole thing going on. This is awesome. All right, let's get into some other stuff. Any other sports?
What else is left? We've covered it all.
No, I know. Sports Collision themed stuff?
Sports Collision. NBA playoffs are going on. A couple of teams have already been eliminated over the weekend. I believe Boston beat Indiana. Earlier today when we were on, Gianni and the Bucks eliminated whomever they were playing. I can't even remember. But
says your Sports Collision host.
Well, you know, it's the first round.
Keep it light. Right. Nobody's really paying that much attention to the teams
Detroit.
that get bounced in the first
beat
round.
Detroit. Milwaukee beat Detroit, and they move on.
The not-so-bad boys.
The not-so-bad boys.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. They're nothing like the bad boys.
Just like March Madness. I don't start paying
There's
attention
NHL
until
hockey
the
going on, but I
Elite
really
Eight.
don't pay attention to that at all.
You don't pay any attention to hockey?
No, I really haven't at all. Nope. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was I used to go out and watch them here at the local arena. But many years ago, I don't know, I think it was when they went on strike or when they got locked out and they didn't play a whole season. I kind of lost interest, and it goes kind of that saying to what you were telling our friend, that when you don't do a show for a few weeks, the audience disappears.
You lose the audience.
Well, I feel like locally the hockey lost me. And so I used to go a lot more often when the tickets were more available. But
Let me tell you, tickets are plenty available.
No, I don't. I mean, for free.
Tickets are right.
The free tickets. And the other thing is that now it is actually a little quite. It's a heck of a trek for me to go all the way to Sunrise to watch a hockey game.
Let me tell you about the hockey. All right. First of all, we're in Florida, folks, so
Right.
hockey is not a natural thing.
It's not in its natural
We do have the
habitat.
Florida Panthers hockey, and the late, great Neil Rogers did a great job in the market to make the Panthers a thing. There is not one person since Neil passed away who has carried the team on his back the way Neil did, trying to make it a daily thing and introducing to players and keeping people in on the comings and goings of Florida Panthers hockey. So it's just a sad thing. Now, hockey in general, when we get to the Stanley Cup finals or the conference finals, I'll watch some games, but it feels like it's been, Blackhawks centric the past couple of years. Like, who is the reigning Stanley Cup champions right now? Do you even know?
No, I know that the Vegas team went to the finals last year.
Yes, the Vegas team. That was the Golden Knights. There you go.
Yeah.
I can tell you that Vegas is crazy for the Golden Knights. They love it until the Raiders come, and then it's over.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, Golden Knights, this is the greatest. Every marquee out in front of every store. Golden Knights gear everywhere. Everybody loves the Golden Knights. They're selling Golden Knights stuff everywhere. As soon as the Raiders come, it's going to be in the back corner. Love hockey. Hockey's fun. I have a great time at hockey games. A little pricey. Panthers Arena, even for a team that's not great, it's a little pricey. I do go for free with Paulie the White Guy, but now that he doesn't have the tickets anymore, I haven't been. I would love to go to a hockey game. You're going to drop like
couple bucks.
At least $50 for just the seat nosebleed. The worst seats are $50. They get you. And I have a little bit of a
Now,
beef
I
with
will
that.
admit that hockey is one of those things that it's so much better in person. Every time you go, it's definitely fun and entertaining, and it's one of those sports that really it's so much easier to follow in person than on TV.
I like it on TV, too.
I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying that it's one of those that
maybe they should have something that makes
the in-person experience seems to me much better.
You have a problem following the puck is what it is. There should be like a glowing thing.
Yeah, no, I don't need that.
The glowing puck, remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. I think it was Fox that came out with that. But
Fox.
Anyway, the defending NHL champions are the Washington Capitals.
Oh, there it is. The Caps,
yeah,
yes,
Ovechkin.
the guy, Ovechkin. That's right.
Yeah, we all know Alex Ovechkin.
The Caps. You know what? I was rooting for the Caps because Billy.
There you go.
There it is. So we're not hockey fans. There it is.
We don't dislike hockey. We just don't really pay attention.
So anything
and our
else?
geographical location doesn't really help us. NFL draft this week.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. That's
So
the
now's
time
the
of
time
year
for
that
draft
everybody loves the draft.
It's time for draft talk.
Everybody's going to have hope.
Well, I just flipped on some sports radio earlier today, and I saw somebody was saying something about the Dolphins getting someone. What's going on with that?
Well, yeah, they have a pick.
They're going to get
I believe it's the 13th pick overall.
Yeah.
And I will guarantee you that if they don't trade that pick, they're going to draft someone.
Wow. That's awesome.
And more than likely, with the way the Dolphins are, he's going to turn out to not be very
terrible.
good.
Are we going to get a superstar quarterback?
Not with the 13th pick.
We got to trade up. Is there a superstar quarterback available?
Not like last year. There are quarterbacks available every year. I think that this year's class is not considered to be as good as it was last year.
Is the next Tom Brady available? Who's the top quarterbacking prospect that we can get?
The Dolphins?
Yeah.
Wow, I don't even know what to tell you.
Gio Kuiper.
Everybody likes the vertically challenged kid that plays for Oklahoma, Kyler Murray.
The next Drew Brees?
I guess he's even smaller and shorter than Drew Brees.
Not good. Not good.
Well, this is what happens. Drew Brees came along, 15 or so years ago, and so that led the way to that everybody up until Russell Wilson got drafted was going to be the next Drew Brees. And then Russell Wilson didn't do, short people any favors because now everybody thinks, oh, yeah, Russell Wilson can do it. This guy could do it and that guy could do it. And I just think that the NFL, while the shorter quarterbacks are able to play better than they did before because of the way the game has changed and all the offense and so forth, it's still a league where you got to be a big guy that in order to win, you got to be able to stand back there and make throws. And I don't know if every guy that's 5'10" is just the next Drew Brees or Russell Wilson.
So wait, 5'10" is short?
It is if you're an NFL quarterback, my friend.
Oh, no, I know.
It is.
I know. But I stood next to a guy that was 7'8".
I have seen that picture. That was literally 2 feet taller than you.
That was a weird experience. I forget his name right now, but
big tall guy. That's his name.
Well, he was the tallest man in North America for a period. He's no longer. Can you believe this? Someone came from outside the country and took the title of tallest man in North America.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
He's American, and he was born 7'8". But then somebody moved from another country into North America and is now the tallest man in North America.
All right.
So not only are the immigrants coming in and stealing the jobs.
Well, they're not stealing the job.
They're taking the title of it's a joke, man. I'm just making a joke. Come on.
You don't steal the job, but
I'm just making a joke about even the tallest man in North America is losing his title to somebody who came in for some reason. That's what they told me.
All right.
Yeah. 7'8" was really weird to stand and look up at this person because they're way up there. It must be lonely.
He looked, though, thin and lanky.
Super.
Right. Not like when we saw Shaq.
Yeah,
that's
but
the thing that I was always so impressed about Shaq, that he's so big and fills in that body. I mean, now he's just kind of fat.
Yeah, he's a bit
but
fat.
When he was playing in his playing days, that he didn't look like if he was 7 feet tall because he filled in the whole 7 feet of body, whereas we were accustomed to guys that were, the Manute Bulls of the world that were like 7 foot 200 pounds.
Could snap him.
Shaq was the first guy that was 7 foot 300 pounds. So he filled in that body. Generally speaking, all the tall guys were kind of like thin and lanky. And
This guy was thin and lanky.
Right. He had that look like the tall guy look.
Yeah, but
and that's what always scared me about Shaq. That Shaq looked like he didn't look so big because he filled in the body until you got up close.
George Bell was his name. I got to hang with George Bell, the tallest man in North America.
Like the baseball player?
Well, but that's from 2008, and since he has been supplanted as the tallest man in North America. Just in case you were wondering. Igor Vovovinsky is now the tallest man, from what I understand. 7'8", my man. 7'8". It was crazy. He was way up there. Me and Ashley Sanford were like, say what?
That's giant.
He is a giant. And speaking of giants, all right, you're done with Sports Collision.
Yeah.
Now it's time for Joe movie review and Joe television programming review here at the tail end before we get up on out of here.
Oh, do I have to hear about this?
Yes, man. You bring up stuff.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons. Listen, whatever. You're missing a cultural phenomenon. You're missing probably what will be considered one of the greatest television series in the history of television, even though it's on HBO, Game of Thrones. But I'm going to save that for a minute and talk about Creed 2, baby. Creed 2, the next of the Rocky movies. Me and the little guy, my little nephew, Gio's kid, we both love Rocky. And I have got him in on the Rocky stuff. And it's wonderful because Rocky is one of my favorite things of all time. I love Rocky. Like this experience with the little nephew of taking him through all the Rocky movies, because I felt like, what can I do? What can I do to help teach this young person some life lessons, but also entertain him in a way that I can handle, right? And watching the Rocky movies is a great thing for us because, number one, Rocky has got so many wonderful life lessons. Don't quit. Never quit, right? Eye of the tiger. There is no tomorrow. All of these things all come from Rocky. Just so many great things. The dichotomy that drives us all. It's you versus you. All of these things come from Rocky. And you got this great story like the original Rocky. He wins the motion picture of the year. It's an Academy Award winner. Sylvester Stallone, who is of our life, one of the biggest stars of our life. And I don't know why I'm pitching Rocky to you guys so hard. I know you love Rocky too, but I'm telling you that I love Rocky. And recently, then Rocky 2, Apollo Creed, they're the rematch. Rocky wins. Rocky loses the first fight. Like, that's amazing in and of itself. It's so not today. So not the way it is today. And then Rocky 2, Rocky comes back. Is it possible? I know Lo has never seen a Rocky movie.
No way.
Rocky is, there's all these people in my life that are coming up to me saying, I never saw a Star Wars movie in my life. Like, seriously?
I can understand Star Wars because not everyone likes sci-fi.
Kathy Fisher, never seen Star Wars.
But
Brian Loans, never seen Star Wars.
Again, I can understand Star Wars because sci-fi is, but for people that have never seen Rocky, not even just the first one or the second one.
That's an interesting angle. Yeah. So
yeah,
I find out. I
think it's not that it's more mainstream, but I think someone watching a Rocky movie is more likely than someone's that people, especially now after the phenomena. There's a lot of people, sci-fi science, look at me with the Dungeons and Dragons,
mocking, right?
Calling Game of Thrones Dungeons and Dragons.
Easy to mock because it's not of the real world. It requires imagination, which some people just don't have or don't like to be bothered with. Get it? Totally get it. Rocky 3, Clubber Lang. Hey, woman. Hey, woman.
And I don't know, maybe it's just also the age we were, but like in that Rocky 3 and Rocky 4 in the mid-'80s, it was like on top of the world. I mean, Rocky 4 was...
Well, and that's what I always say, and if I've never said it on the show, let me say it now, and if I have said it, I apologize for saying it again, but it is, I believe, a fact. And I have been in this battle with someone recently, I forget who it was, but this came up, and it was a real battle, and I stand behind it. Rocky 4, the best Rocky movie. It didn't win the award, and yeah, it got a little campy, but when you tie it into the global political Cold War construct,
right,
and the Soviet Union fell almost right after Rocky 4.
Yeah, I don't want to know about
like very close. It was
exactly
the Rocky 4 contributed to the fall of the Iron Curtain.
He tore that wall down.
They cheer for him. Rocky 4. Then Rocky 5 was horrible, and it should never have been seen. And the Gray forced me to watch Rocky 5. I don't think I had even watched all of Rocky 5.
Oh, I had seen it.
The Tommy Morrison.
Yeah, the Tommy Morrison one, yeah.
Here, Rocky somehow saves the world, and 2 weeks later, he's broke because Paulie left power of attorney to some guy, and he lost all Rocky's money. And by the way, you're broke. So now you got to move back to Philly.
By the way, how does Paulie have power of attorney over Rocco and the wife and everybody?
Well, they signed it over because he had to go over to Russia to train.
Oh, is that? But what was Talia Shire in this?
She went over there too. And so Paulie had power of attorney.
See, I didn't remember any of that part of why he lost the money.
Watch the first 10 minutes, and you'll want to put a pistol in your mouth.
Yeah.
I
didn't eat too much up with that.
National hero to poor back in the streets of Philadelphia, and everybody's mean to him. Oh, you're a bum, Rocky. It's like terrible.
Yeah, loser, Rocco.
But then there was Rocky.
Condominiums. Well, I don't really wear them.
Exactly.
You got to invest in some condominiums.
The humor behind the Rocky movies, it's just unbelievable. So anyway, they ran their course, and they started to get back. Rocky Balboa was okay, and they even made jokes in Back to the Future about Rocky 20, but then they bring out Creed. They take a totally different direction. Creed. And you still haven't seen Creed, correct?
Nope.
Man, Creed was great. Creed was great. It was great. I loved Creed. Everybody loved Creed. People were talking about great Creed. Rocky is back. Rocky's an old man. Creed was great. Well, this is Creed 2. And so me and the little guy, we got to watch Creed together for the first time, and neither of us had seen it. Do you understand the significance of that moment?
That neither one of you had seen the movie.
That the Rocky franchise has extended so long that now I could show him all these movies and still watch one that was brand new to me with him.
Dude, so basically you're telling me that you ruined my opportunity to have this moment with my son.
Not just this
and
one.
And just stepped all over
all kinds of it. I'm doing that on a regular basis. You're missing out, man. I'm gobbling up the moments. You're lazy. You need to be having these moments, and you're taking forever.
Lazy because I don't sit around watching TV with my son all day.
You're not thinking of cool, creative moments to be having with the little boy. This is uncle stuff. The Rocky movies.
Yeah.
You could have, you would have had to invest and go back and watch Rocky and Rocky 2 and Rocky 3 and Rocky 4 and Rocky 5 and Rocky 6.
I could have just watched Creed and Creed 2 with him, but, someone...
He would not have
jumped the
understood
boundary.
it. He would not have
Doesn't
understood.
matter.
You were invited to watch Creed. You elected to not. You could have watched it yesterday. You said no. Gio, you want to watch the movie? No, I don't want to watch the movie.
Whatever. I'm not fracking getting into this with you.
But that's true, though. We watched.
It's only partially true. All right. When you omit facts from a statement,
Like you were
it
busy?
doesn't make the statement true. It just makes it partially true.
Isn't that true? That is a true statement. So watch Creed 2. Thought it was great. Here's the plot. Ivan Drago's kid. That's all you need to know. Apollo's kid.
Versus Drago's kid.
Versus Drago's kid.
Makes sense.
Totally. Well, that's the whole thing. That's the fight that everybody wants to see. It's a super winner. Oh, my God. It's awesome. I was getting emotional. It was great. So I highly recommend Creed 2, but you have to watch all the Rocky movies to really understand. And if nothing else, you got to watch 1, 2, 3, 4, Creed, and Creed 2. You can skip 5 and Rocky Balboa. Because those, and also, it might be good to watch John Rambo just for fun. You can show him the First Blood movies and go on a whole
But
different.
there's not going to be a new First Blood movie.
Far as we know right now, you never know. Stallone might bring back John Rambo. Maybe it's time. I could go another round with Rambo.
Yeah, I think Stallone can't go with Rambo anymore. He already looks like ancient just in the Creed movies, walking around, barely walk. He's still trying to dig the old school, early Rocky look though, with the hat,
The cap.
with
Gloves.
that.
Maybe
With
he'll
the
have to
hat
be like
and the leather jacket, walking around like.
what was his name? Troutman.
Yes,
He'll have to be that guy. He'll have to
right. He'll have to be the colonel.
How big was Sylvester Stallone? You mentioned Rocky 3, Rocky 4. Like, I think about those movies. Those were huge.
He was giant. Yeah, no, he was so giant after those movies that they let him do all those crappy movies that he made too.
Rhinestone.
Wow, yeah.
Remember Rhinestone?
Yeah. Cobra.
I liked Cobra.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I saw a bunch of them, but, they weren't necessarily great movies.
What about the Tunnel movie? Remember that one?
What about the wrestling movie, the arm wrestling
Oh,
movie?
Over the Top.
Over the Top.
Whew, it was basically Rocky, but arm wrestling.
But arm wrestling.
And the kid?
It was a whole different story. The kid and the divorce and yada, yada. And he's walking. Yeah, he's a truck driver, arm wrestler. I remember that. Yeah, Over the Top. Yeah, so they let Stallone do a bunch of crappy movies, too, because, he was such a big star.
What's the other one?
What other one?
Spats, where he was Spats. He was like an old school mobster. Pinstripe something. And there was another one with Dolly Parton was the Rhinestone one.
That was Rhinestone, yeah. Yeah, that was...
There were some bad ones.
Yeah.
There was really bad. Hey, the guy wrote and acted and starred in Rocky that created a theme that has gone on for basically, half a century? 40 years, 1977 till 2019?
Judge Dredd.
Demolition
Man.
I like Demolition Man.
Cliffhanger.
I remember Cliffhanger. Is that's the Tunnel movie?
No, that's the one that hanging off of the mountain and stuff. The Tunnel movie is. Let me see if I
Tunnel.
If I could figure it out just by the name here. Daylight is the Tunnel movie.
Me and Carlos saw it over at Flippers over there.
Look at
the Tunnel movie.
I mean, there was Demolition Man. I remember that with Wesley Snipes and the yellow hair
and Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, there you go.
She was cute.
Tango and Cash.
Tango and Cash. I remember that. Was Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
Okay. What else? This is good. Failed Sylvester Stallone movies for 100, Alex.
Let's see.
I haven't seen any of the Replacements movies. How about that one for you? I'm saving those.
The Replacements. Yeah, I haven't seen any of those either.
But that's all Sly, man. He did that from what I understand.
Yeah, Rocky V was in 1990. After that came Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Ooh.
How about that?
Don't remember that one. Missed that one.
92. That was, I'm sure, a failed attempt at a comedy. The Specialist. Judge Dredd. Do I keep saying that one?
Yes.
I don't know why.
Cool name.
Assassins. Copland.
Copland was like a big deal.
Right.
I think it was a flop. but it was supposed to be good.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously more movies here, but I don't even know a bunch of them.
Wow. Well, there you go. So Sly.
Rocco.
Creed 2. Watch it. Got to watch.
Go.
You got to get the context, though. You got to understand the context.
By the way, Rambo 5, Last Blood, is in post-production this year.
Are you kidding me?
I swear. I just see that right here.
What?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you see, I saw a Rambo movie, like, I want to say in the last handful of years, that was clearly, it's not that old. It's some new version. I didn't even know there was another Rambo past the First Blood and Rambo for.
What do you mean,
2.
Sly is not the guy?
No, Sly is the guy, but it's like a different story. It's like a mix of the first two.
Craig of the Northwest Nitro Fanatics posted something about First Blood the other day. First Blood was great. I remember when I first saw
And even
First
part
Blood.
2 was still good.
Well, Rambo. That was the bigger of the two movies. First Blood was like the kind of underground, I don't want to say art movie, but it was like dark and it was very sad and unfortunate. It was a commentary on the way Vietnam veterans were treated. And how terrible that they, like the cops up there in the Northwest, poor John Rambo is coming through. He had a tough go of it, lost his buddies over there in the NAM, and they're giving him a hard time. And they drew First Blood, man. And made a big, giant mistake.
They messed with the wrong guy.
And John Rambo tears apart this town. It was fantastic. But then, and I know, WFO Ignition has just gone off the rails and turned into a recreation of all the Sylvester Stallone
and not only that, but at the same time that you turned the heater up in here, and so I am schwitzing.
You are schwitzing, and you think you're going to run 2 miles. Get out of here. It's not going to happen. You can't sit here motionless without turning into a ball of sweat, a pool. So what's the plot on Rambo 5? Does it say? John Rambo,
sure,
Rambo, the first one, not the Russian one, the Vietnam one where he goes and saves the POWs.
Well, the Russian one was in part 2.
That was part 3.
Right.
Right.
That was part 3 is when he goes rescue Troutman from Afghanistan and the Russians.
Right. Right, but I'm talking about the Vietnam
part
one.
2 is when he actually goes to rescue the girl in Vietnam or wherever that was.
Well, I thought he was going to rescue POWs and MIAs.
There you go. But there was a love interest in that.
Well, not only that, because Vietnam was
blue
big.
light. What's it do? Turn blue. Remember that? That was another one of those memorable one-liners when he was in the cave with the blue light.
And that was part 3?
That was part 3. Oh, how horrible.
You had Platoon, you had Full Metal Jacket, both big hits. And so Rambo goes and saves the guys. What? It was fantastic. I loved it. But let's move on beyond Sylvester Stallone. This will bring it to a close. You're going to read us the plot of Rambo 5.
Oh, well, I only got a line, but Rambo goes up against a Mexican cartel in what's reported to be his last adventure.
Love it. Oh, my God. That's awesome.
El Chapo.
Yes.
Oh.
Clint Eastwood is doing drug mule movies, too. He just did that.
No, man, you're thinking about 2 Mules for Sister Sarah or something.
No, The Mule is a Clint Eastwood movie. Speaking of other old action stars, I hear Clint is doing a new Any Which Way But Loose.
No way.
No, I just made that up.
Right turn, Clyde.
Although, a new Philo Beto movie might just be what the doctor ordered.
He's too old, man. Isn't he like 1,000 years old already?
He's training the next backyard fighter.
Clint Eastwood's 88. He's going to be 89 in May.
He's starting a new movie. Eastwood doesn't stop, man. He just keeps going. He's a force of nature. Eastwood.
Yeah, he's done.
He's not. He just had The Mule.
Look, yeah, that's fine.
The Mule movie.
Look, you can say that all you want, man. Look, I'm not even going to say anything bad. I like Clint Eastwood. I love spaghetti westerns.
But what I'm telling you is that whatever you're about to say is it's disproven.
The Man with No Name trilogy. It's some of the best westerns ever.
I like The Outlaw Josie Wales.
That was very good too.
Like of all those I'm not too into the whole western theme. Like for whatever reason, cowboys and sleeping outside is not my thing. But I love Outlaw Josie Wales.
Camping is definitely not my thing.
Don't pee down my back and tell me it's raining. Yeah. You be 10 bears. I am 10 bears. All right. Are we done with this?
Look at this, dude. Look at this.
Well, go click it, man. I don't know what to tell you.
No, I'm hoping we,
I can't
this
believe
2
what to tell you.
No, I'm hoping we,
I can't
this
believe
2
I've
hours
never
in.
seen someone sweat like this. You're like Stryker trying to land the plane. Oh, my gosh, it's pouring down. Game of Thrones. Good stuff. Apparently, there's only 6 episodes in this final season.
Is there? Is that a fact? Did you find that out?
No. I've heard 10, I've heard 8, I've heard 6. You going to look that up, or should I?
Yes.
You going to look that up, or should I?
Season, how many episodes?
How many episodes?
6.
So
Will return for its 6th-episode, 8th and final season beginning April 14th.
there's 4 episodes left. We're a third of the way in. The rest is going to be epic, just battling and everything. The army.
And are they only an hour? Are they an hour? I mean, I find it like they're just throwing a 6-hour season out there. How many episodes are the regular seasons?
10 to 12.
So it's even a mini season to end it all out.
Well, really, the last season was also like 6 or 8, so they basically split the thing in half. But what you're basically learning about is the pain of the Game of Thrones fans. How long has this thing been going?
Season 8 will be just 6 episodes instead of 10, like the previous.
When did this thing get started, this Game of Thrones nonsense? Does it say, like, the run of it, like, it started in 2000?
Yeah, here, let me click.
Feels like it started in 2000, I don't know, 8? 10? Feel like this thing
if it's the 8th season, it must have started like in 2012 or so.
But they don't do it every year. This thing could go back to the Bush administration. I don't know, man. It goes back a long time.
No, it cannot.
Look it up.
Possibly.
Well, you have this information.
I'm working on it. I don't
Game
type
of Thrones.
2011.
When did it start? All right. 2011. So it's going, and it started pretty slow, man. And it went, and it went, and it built. And I came in on season 4, and I binge-watched 3 seasons to get to season 4 so I could watch. And now I've been watching. And South Park made a joke episode about how nothing happens, and the dragons are coming, and the dragons are coming eventually. But right now we have to show everybody's penis. That was the South Park episode. Saturday Night Live, everybody's mocking this thing.
First episode was in 2011.
A slow grind and horrific torture and taking offshoot directions that were totally meaningless. Like, maybe this will be a cool thing that people will like. And no, it's not. And so they abandoned it. But anyway, now we have 4 episodes remaining. And that's it. And the whole thing, have you heard the phrase, winter is coming?
I have.
Okay. Winter is coming. Winter is freaking here, to use that word again, which is thematic for the whole show.
I don't believe that, man.
Winter is, not right now, of course, because you're schwitzing like Stryker trying to land the plane. Winter is here. Here they are. Army of the Dead. On the doorstep. There they are. Next episode, it's on. They've had 2 episodes of like every character that you've ever been interested in, like preparing for battle.
And have any of the fan favorites died so far this season?
No.
Without saying, okay, because I know that.
No, they're all about to die next episode.
That favorite episode, favorite characters die off like no big deal in this show.
If you liked someone, that's bad.
They're more than likely dead.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, that guy's cool. Dead. Oh, this guy's an upstanding good person. He's a good quality person that I like. Dead. Not just dead, but in a horrific, horrible way that makes you feel sad for the rest of your life.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man, that Rob Stark. He's awesome. Yeah. Won't see him no more. So anyway, the premise is, since you're never, ever going to watch, and neither is Bobby Graham, is that there's this army of the dead, man. They're dead people. Like, I want to say zombies, not zombies.
But that's a new thing. That wasn't the premise from day one, right?
Day one. This land, Game of Thrones land, this happens like every 1,000 years or something. Okay. Winter is coming. And so they have to prepare. But just like in our normal life, like with the measles, people forget that it's bad. Oh, measles, it's no big deal. It's okay to not get vaccinated. What did I say?
Vaccines.
Vaccinated. And then all of a sudden the measles are back, right? And people are dying left and right because of measles, something we had beaten. Same thing in Game of Thrones land. And they're all fighting each other, and they're all politicking, and this guy kills this guy, and this one and that one and whatever, and they're all worried about their own nonsense, except for one thing. Here comes winter. The winter, meaning the army of the dead, is coming to kill you all, and kill all the living stuff, and make it all dead. And that's it. And when they kill you, you become one of them.
So all this Dungeons and Dragons stuff is really just a zombie movie?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
It's like a prehistoric zombies.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. It's prehistoric zombies, Army of the Dead. So they come and they move just like the zombies, the crazy zombies that you see in like World War Z, the Brad Pitt zombie movie. And I hate zombies. Like of all this
was
stuff.
that called World War Z?
World War Z, zombie. Yeah, World War Z. Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
That was
That was
messed
the one
up.
with the zombies climbing all over each other to get over the wall.
That scene messed me up, man.
Yeah, no, the little freaky diggy.
That was a messed up scene. World War Z. But I digress. So all these characters are doing all this stuff and prologue and whatever to this moment that's about to happen now over 4 episodes. The epic battle of life versus death. It's going to be great. And who knows what's going to happen? Are they going to win or are they going to lose? This show, it's very possible that they just lose and everybody just dies. And that's it. Death wins. Thank you, Game of Thrones. Who knows? Likeable characters, though. Now, would I advise someone to start from the very beginning? Would I advise someone to do like my great friend Billy and like buy the boxes and go and sit and watch?
Well, you don't have to buy the boxes. You could just get that HBO free for 30 days and watch it.
No, you can't do this in 30 days, but I get your point.
Well, I mean, theoretically speaking, if there's
about
only,
box
8
sets.
seasons, 10 episodes a season, that's 80, and there's only going to be 6 in this one, so that's 76 episodes.
Right. At about an hour each,
So
approximately.
it's 76 hours.
So about a month straight of watching an hour, 2 months.
So 76 hours divided over the 30 days. You're talking about just over 4,
2 episodes a day for a month.
There you go.
You're there. No one's doing that. And I can't believe I mentioned buying boxes. That's what our friend Bill Slash said the other day, that he's going to buy them. And I was like, what are you doing? Because they're digital download. Anyway.
Yeah, and by the way, you can't buy the boxes anymore. I've tried playing some of the old school 90s flicks, and they just don't look the same. They don't look as good as the digital download. Or if I rent it from the Apple or from whatever.
Yeah, I got to leave it to the cloud. Putting your own media in, what's the point?
I mean, there's something about having the actual physical copy, but no more.
Times they are changing. But would I recommend someone to do it?
I'm not doing it, so it doesn't matter.
Well, what you just described is a daunting task. You could get a degree. You could learn Spanish if you did that. If I sat down
you can learn Spanish in 76 hours.
For 2 hours a day
for a month.
For a month, I would know some Spanish, man.
Yeah, I think you would.
I would. I would be.
If you really wanted to, yeah. If you're going to do it grammatically and learn, something besides the boy sitting on the plane.
El Niño encima un avión.
Yeah, sorry, boy on top of plane.
Boy on top of plane.
Right, yeah, no, because that just makes so much sense.
That's what,
silly me thinking there was a boy in the plane.
No, he's sitting on top of the plane.
He's on top of the plane.
But if you saw the photograph, that's what they show. He's sitting on the wing. He's sitting on the wing.
Oh, yes, no, that's even better.
What's that one that I tried?
What was that, Rosetta Stone?
Rosetta Stone. El Niño encima un avión.
I got to tell you, if you really want to learn to speak Spanish,
I downloaded the Babbel app, but locked myself in Hialeah
on the Spanish channel with the
they speak too fast.
With the words
SAP.
Yes,
that's not going to teach me Espanol. But I mean,
that's how you learn. You'll catch conversation and you understand what's going on from the words. I'm not going to say
I'm already there. I'm already there. Like when Spanish speakers are speaking Spanish about me, I know it.
Well, generally speaking, when people are talking about one knows it.
Gringo, the other night, somebody said something in Espanol about me being Americano, something. Gringo. I heard something that felt a little weird, slightly disparaging. Nobody likes that, being spoken about in another language. I need to learn, but that's a different story. But anyway, I don't know how we got onto that.
All of this because you saw the Dungeons and Dragons and you want to talk about that.
I would not recommend starting and watching Game of Thrones all the way to the finish. At this moment, I'll let you know after 4 episodes. But I feel like it has been a wonderful experience. Yes, it's great, but there's 100 things I would have you watch before that. Like the Ken Burns Vietnam documentary. That's 4 nights of 3 hours a night. like 15 hours of Vietnam documentary. That is number one of the list of things that you should see. You know what else? Boardwalk Empire. Boardwalk Empire was so worthwhile. Now,
I couldn't get through the whole thing. My wife
tough.
watched it a lot.
It's tough. There were some spots where it definitely ground you down, and it felt a little boring. There were some points, but they get made up for. But I got ground down in Boardwalk Empire the first couple times, too. Stopped. But then I got going again, and thank God I got sick. You get sick, and then you're stuck, and you have to do it. It was fantastic. Boardwalk Empire was so great. So great. Anyway, what else do we have? Do we have anything else? We got Talladega. We got no plates. We got Azerbaijan. Month of May coming up. I am going to be in Charlotte for 4-wide drag racing in Charlotte. If you're going to be in Charlotte and you have nothing to do this weekend, I highly recommend you come out to ZMAX Dragway. Why? Well, 40,000 horsepower on the starting line, and that's me really rounding down. It's like 44,000 horsepower per quad. Is very interesting and exciting. We're going to have Pro Modified. Stevie Fast is going to be on NHRA Nitro along with Robert Height, Brittany Force. Great stuff happening in the WFO universe. So come on out to ZMAX Dragway in Charlotte. You will also get to see, this is a bit of a tease, Nitro Primetime. Friday night Nitro Primetime. You know the music intros thing that we've been doing for the last half year or so, which now I'm the guy who does the intro. And it's kind of like drivers show their personality. Is everybody up to the speed on that? You know what that is? Well, the folks at Charlotte, which is Speedway Motorsports, Bruton Smith, they're really big into the showmanship of the sport. And so once we started doing this, they're like, we got a bunch of stuff in the shed. Let's break it out. Fire and explosions and lights. They got a bunch of stuff that they're going to... I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to blow some stuff up, I guess. It's going to be a fire! And it's going to be fun. That's going to be on. You're going to want to be watching NHRA.tv on Friday night or whenever Q2 happens. But better to be there in person and see what happens. Maybe someone will catch fire. And there you go. Anything else? Got anything else, Giovanni? Let's get out of here. I also would love, hopefully, you are all enthralled and intrigued by the Florida Man card game. I'm going to post that on the WFO page right now so that nobody misses out. Wouldn't it just be so me to talk about it and then not post the link?
Of course it would.
That would be a very WFO Joe thing to do. So I am going to post it right now. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. I appreciate you listening to our nonsense, which can sometimes pass as entertainment. I think that the summary of the Rocky movies was probably one of the greatest things we've ever done, and I feel like we've done that in the past, and we'll probably do it again in the future. It just seems like something that happens every 2 to 4 years. And it took listen, we learned about Rambo Part 5 because of it.
Who would have thunk it?
I thunk it. And it's the real deal.
We must have heard of it. That's why.
Kind
of like that Top Gun 2.
Event coming out. Avengers is next week. Avengers Endgame. Get ready for that. It's going to be the highest grossing movie of all time. Avengers Endgame is going to be the biggest thing that's ever happened. I love the fact that I'm back into the movie scene. Remember when I did old movie reviews?
Yeah. And now you're kind of like into up-to-date movie reviews.
I'm mostly up to date, which is
They're
nice.
fairly current.
So thanks to my friend David for coming on the show, co-inventor of the Florida Man, the card game. Thanks to Giovanni in Miami. Being in the studio is fun. Hey, maybe we should do the show every other week. Look at how great this one was. We'll lose the audience. All right, everybody, thank you so much. We'll see you next time, WFO.
The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agencies.
Woo! Yeah, welcome to the party.
Bye, bye, bye.